What monks never told you about true power. Introduction. What if I told you that everything you have been taught about power is a lie? Not a malicious lie, but a profound misunderstanding that has kept humanity chasing shadows on a wall. We are taught that power is loud, that it is forceful, that it is something you take from others or from the world. We think of power as the billionaire in his skyscraper, the general with his army, or the politician whose words sway nations. But this is not power. This is merely control, and it is as fragile as a spider's web in a hurricane. True power, the kind that can never be taken from you, is not loud. It is silent. It is not found in the world outside. It is found in the universe within you. This book is a journey to uncover that power. It is a map to a treasure that you already own. We will walk a path that monks and mystics have walked for centuries, but we will uncover the secrets they never put into words, the practical truths that transform a life. This is not about religion or dogma. This is about you and the boundless, unshakable strength that is your birthright. Prepare to unlearn everything you thought you knew about being strong and discover what it means to be truly powerful. Chapter 1. The Grand Illusion of External Power. Let us begin our journey by looking at the world around us, at the grand stage where the play of human life unfolds. From the moment we are born, we are taught to look outward for our sense of strength, for our validation, for our power. We are shown images of success and told, "This is what you must strive for." Look at the man with the expensive car, the beautiful house, the important job title. He is powerful. Look at the woman who is famous, admired by millions, whose face is on every screen. She is powerful. Look at the leader who commands armies, who can change the course of history with a single decree. They are powerful. This is the grand illusion, the most pervasive and convincing mirage in the desert of human experience. We spend our entire lives chasing these phantoms, believing that if we can just accumulate enough things, enough approval, enough control, we will finally feel strong, safe, and whole. Think for a moment about this chase. It begins in childhood. We seek the approval of our parents, the praise of our teachers. We want the gold star, the highest grade, the captaincy of the team. We learn that our worth is measured by our achievements. This lesson is then amplified 1,000 times over as we enter adulthood. The game just gets bigger, and the stakes feel higher. The gold star becomes a promotion. The good grade becomes a bigger salary. The captaincy of the team becomes a title on a business card. We enter a relentless race to accumulate more money in the bank, a bigger house in a better neighborhood, a more prestigious job, more followers on social media, more influence in our community. We tell ourselves that with each acquisition, we are building a fortress of power around us, a fortress that will protect us from the uncertainties and pains of life. But is it truly a fortress? Or is it a prison of our own making? Let us look closer at the nature of this external power. Its first defining characteristic is that it is entirely dependent on things outside of ourselves. Your wealth depends on the economy, on the stock market, on your job remaining secure. One bad investment, one market crash, one corporate downsizing, and the foundation of that power can crumble overnight. Your fame and reputation depend on the fickle opinions of others. One rumor, one mistake, one shift in public taste, and the adoration can turn to scorn in an instant. Your authority over others depends on their willingness to obey. A rebellion, a change in leadership, a loss of respect, and that power vanishes. This is not strength. It is a state of constant low-grade anxiety. The person who derives their power from external sources is not a king in a castle. They are a servant to 1,000 masters, to their boss, to their clients, to public opinion, to the whims of the market. They are constantly performing, constantly worrying, constantly protecting what they have, terrified of losing it. The weight of the crown, as they say, is heavy, The more you have to protect, the more you have to fear. The so-called powerful person is often the most frightened person in the room. You must see this truth for yourself. The world tells you to build an empire. True power teaches you to build a sanctuary within. The chase for external power is a hunger that can never be satisfied. It is a bottomless pit. You think that if you just get that promotion, you will be happy. You get it, and for a week, maybe a month, you feel a sense of accomplishment. But then the feeling fades. The new job becomes normal, and you see the next rung on the ladder. You think, now I need to become a vice president. That is where the real security is. You think if you can just reach $1 million in savings, you will finally be able to relax. You reach it, and you discover that taxes are high, inflation is a concern, and maybe 2 million is a safer number. The goalpost is always moving because the fulfillment you seek cannot be found where you are looking. It is like trying to quench a thirst by drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. This is the great treadmill of suffering that so many people find themselves on. They are running faster and faster, working harder and harder, accumulating more and more, and yet they feel no closer to peace, no closer to a sense of genuine, unshakable power. They feel more exhausted, more stressed, and more empty than when they started. This emptiness is a crucial clue. It is your soul's way of telling you that you are digging in the wrong place. You have been told to build your house upon the shifting sands of external circumstances, and so you are in a constant state of frantic repair and worry. Every wave of change threatens to wash it all away. The spiritual masters, the monks, the mystics, they understood this. They saw the futility of the outward chase. They chose a different path. They were not naive. They understood that we need money to live, that we need homes, that we exist in a physical world. But they recognized that these things were tools, not the source of their being. They understood that mistaking the tool for the treasure was the fundamental error of human consciousness. So what did they do? They turned their gaze inward. They embarked on the great journey of self-discovery to find the power that did not depend on the stock market or on the applause of a crowd or on a title before their name. They sought the power that was inherent to their own existence, a power that was portable, permanent, and absolute. This is the power that we are here to explore. This is the power that monks never told you about, not because they were hiding it, but because it cannot be taught in simple words. It must be experienced. It is the power that arises not from what you have, but from who you are. Let this be a moment of awakening for you. Look at your own life. Where have you been placing your sense of worth? On your job? On your bank account? On what other people think of you? On your physical appearance? Be honest with yourself, without judgment. We have all been conditioned to do this. See the illusion for what it is. See the stress, the anxiety, the endless running it causes. See that the fortress you have been trying to build is made of glass. Acknowledge that the thirst you feel cannot be quenched by the salt water of the world. You are not a vessel to be filled by the world's approval. You are the source of the river. This realization is the first, most crucial step. It is the moment you stop running the race that you can never win. It is the moment you turn away from the shimmering mirage and begin to look for real water. You are not abandoning the world. You are simply changing your relationship to it. You are shifting the foundation of your life from the shifting sands of the external to the solid rock of your own inner being. In the chapters that follow, we will learn how to find that rock. We will learn how to build our house upon it. We will discover the true nature of power, a power that is quiet, resilient, and eternally yours. The world's power is a raging fire that consumes everything and eventually burns itself out. The power we will discover is like the sun, effortlessly radiating light and warmth from its own core, needing nothing from the outside to sustain its brilliance. The journey inward has now begun. Chapter 2. The first gate, the power of stillness. Now that we have seen the illusion of external power for what it is, a fragile and exhausting chase, we arrive at the first gate on our path to true internal strength. This gate is perhaps the most important, and in our modern world, the most challenging to pass through. This is the gate of stillness. When you hear the word stillness, what comes to mind? For many, it conjures images of boredom, of emptiness, of doing nothing. Our society worships noise, speed, and constant activity. We are praised for being busy. Our schedules are packed from morning until night. Our minds are filled with a ceaseless torrent of information, notifications, opinions, and worries. The idea of simply being still can feel uncomfortable, even frightening. It can feel like a waste of time. We think, I should be doing something. I should be productive. I should be moving forward. This is the conditioning of the external world speaking. It wants you to keep running on the treadmill. But the great secret, the first truth that the monks and mystics discovered is this: all true power, all clarity, and all wisdom are born from stillness. Imagine a lake. On a windy day, the surface of the lake is turbulent, waves are crashing, the water is churned up, and it is impossible to see what lies beneath. The surface is full of drama and motion, but it is also murky and opaque. If you were to throw a stone into this lake, you would barely notice the splash. This is the state of the modern mind, constantly agitated by the winds of external demands, fears, and desires. It is reactive, chaotic, and it has no clarity. Now imagine that same lake on a calm, windless dawn. The surface is like a perfect mirror. It is so still that it reflects the sky, the mountains, the trees with perfect precision. You can see deep into the clear water, all the way to the bottom. You can see the fish swimming, the plants growing, the stones resting peacefully. If you were to gently toss a small pebble into this lake, the ripples would spread out in perfect, concentric circles, their effect visible and clear. This is the mind that has cultivated stillness. It is not empty, it is profoundly full. It is full of awareness, clarity, and a deep connection to the reality of the present moment. Stillness is not about inaction. This is a critical misunderstanding. Stillness is the prerequisite for wise and powerful action. The archer does not fire his arrow while running. He plants his feet, becomes still, draws the bow, takes a deep and silent aim, and only then does he release. The action of releasing the arrow is incredibly powerful, but its power and accuracy are born from the moment of stillness that preceded it. In our lives, we are constantly firing arrows without ever stopping to aim. We react emotionally in conversations. We make impulsive decisions based on fear or greed. We rush through our days on autopilot. And then we wonder why our lives feel chaotic and our efforts miss the mark. The power of stillness is the power of the sacred pause. It is the space between the stimulus and the response. The world gives you a stimulus, a challenging email, a criticism from a loved one, a sudden piece of bad news. The untrained mind reacts instantly, a knee-jerk of anger, fear, or defensiveness. But the mind that knows stillness can hold that stimulus in its awareness without immediately reacting. In that sacred pause, that space of inner quiet, you have a choice. You can access your deeper wisdom. You can choose a response that is calm, centered, and aligned with your true values. This is not weakness. This is supreme power. The person who can remain centered in the midst of chaos is the most powerful person in the room. In the heart of silence, you will hear your own truth. So how do we begin to cultivate this stillness in a world that is screaming at us to be noisy and busy? We do not need to retreat to a monastery or a mountain cave. We can practice it right here, right now, in the midst of our ordinary lives. The most direct and accessible tool we have is our own breath. Your breath is the ultimate anchor to the present moment. You cannot breathe in the past. You cannot breathe in the future. You can only breathe right now. For just a moment, As you are listening to these words, bring your attention to your breath. Do not try to change it. Do not judge it as good or bad, shallow or deep. Simply observe it. Feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, cool and fresh. Feel your chest or your belly gently rising. Feel the pause at the top of the inhale. Then feel your chest or belly falling as you exhale. Feel the sensation of the air leaving your body, slightly warmer now. That is it. You are not trying to achieve a mystical state. You are simply resting your attention on the raw, physical sensation of being alive. When you do this, you will notice something very quickly. Your mind will wander. This is absolutely normal. It is what minds do. A thought will arise about what you need to do later. A memory will pop up. A worry will surface. The practice is not to fight these thoughts or to scold yourself for having them. The practice is to gently and without judgment notice that your mind has wandered, and then lovingly guide your attention back to the feeling of the breath. Each time you do this, you are performing a sacred act. You are strengthening a mental muscle. You are choosing presence over distraction. You are choosing stillness over noise. You can do this for 1 minute. You can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it while waiting in line at the grocery store, while sitting in traffic, or before you get out of bed in the morning. These small moments of practice are like planting seeds of peace in the garden of your mind. Over time, they will grow into a great, unshakable tree of inner calm. Another powerful gateway to stillness is through your senses. Your mind is often lost in the abstract world of thoughts, plans, and worries. Your senses, however, are always in the present moment. Take a moment to truly feel the chair or the surface that is supporting your body. Feel its texture, its pressure, its temperature. Now, open your ears. What can you hear? Do not just label the sounds, a car, a bird, a refrigerator humming. Try to hear them as pure vibration, as raw sonic energy, without the layer of mental commentary. What can you see? Let your eyes rest softly on an object in front of you. See its color, its shape, its texture, without naming it, without judging it. Just let the visual information flow in. By consciously engaging your senses in this way, you pull your awareness out of the chaotic stream of thought and ground it firmly in the reality of the here and now. This is a state of stillness. It is a state of pure being. The pause is not an empty space. It is the space where power is born. As you begin to practice this, you will come to understand the difference between you and your thoughts. This is one of the most liberating discoveries a human being can make. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is aware of the thoughts. Imagine you are the vast blue sky. Your thoughts, your emotions, your worries, they are like clouds passing through the sky. Some days the sky is full of dark, stormy clouds. Other days it is filled with light, puffy white clouds. Some days it is perfectly clear, but through it all, the sky itself remains unchanged, untouched, and ever present. The sky does not cling to the beautiful clouds, and it does not fight the storm clouds. It simply allows them to be, to come, and to go, knowing that they are not what it is. This is who you are. You are the spacious, silent awareness in which all the noise of your life happens. When you realize this, your thoughts lose their power over you. A fearful thought can arise, but you do not have to become the fear. You can observe it, like a cloud passing in the sky of your awareness. An angry thought can arise, but you do not have to act on it. You can watch it, feel its energy, and let it dissolve without consuming you. This is the freedom that stillness provides. Do not seek to quiet the world. Seek to find the quiet within you. The world will always be noisy. There will always be challenges, demands, and chaos. The goal is not to create a perfect, silent, external environment. The goal is to cultivate an inner sanctuary of stillness that you can carry with you everywhere. This inner stillness becomes your center, your anchor in the storm. When others are panicking, you can remain calm. When situations are confusing, you can access clarity. When you are attacked or criticized, you can respond with grace instead of reactivity. This is true power. It is not the power to control the world. It is the power to not be controlled by the world. It is the power to remain sovereign in your own inner kingdom, no matter what is happening outside its walls. Let your practice of stillness be gentle and consistent. Do not turn it into another task on your to-do list that you have to achieve. Approach it with curiosity and kindness, as if you are getting to know a long-lost friend, your own inner self. Start small, just a few minutes each day. Find a quiet corner, close your eyes, and for a little while let go of all the doing, all the striving, all the chasing. Simply be. Rest in the awareness of your own breath, your own body, your own presence. In this simple, radical act of being still, you are opening the first gate. You are taking the first step away from the grand illusion and toward the grand reality of your own inherent power. You are learning that your strength does not come from the noise you make in the world, but from the silence you can hold within yourself. This silence is not empty. It is pregnant with everything. It is the source from which your most authentic, powerful, and peaceful life will grow. Welcome to the Power of Stillness. Chapter 3. The Unbreakable Core. The Power of Acceptance. Having passed through the first gate of stillness, we arrive at a deeper, more subtle, and profoundly transformative realm of power. Once the waters of your mind begin to calm, you start to see what lies beneath the surface. You see not only the beauty and the peace, but also the sharp rocks, the tangled weeds, and the forgotten mud. In the quiet space you have created, you will inevitably encounter discomfort, pain, difficult emotions, and unpleasant truths about yourself and the world. This is a critical juncture in the spiritual journey. The temptation is to recoil, to distract yourself again, to stir up the waters, to avoid seeing what is down there. But to do so is to remain a prisoner. The next great secret of power, the strength that allows you to walk through fire and emerge whole, is the power of acceptance. Acceptance is one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of spirituality. People often mistake it for passivity, resignation, or weakness. They think acceptance means giving up, letting people walk all over you, or condoning bad behavior. This could not be further from the truth. Acceptance is not passive. It is an act of supreme courage and strength. It is not about liking a situation. It is not about approving of it. It is simply about acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance. True acceptance is the radical, unconditional opening of your heart to the present moment, exactly as it is. It is dropping the war with reality. And in dropping this war, you liberate an immense amount of energy that you were previously wasting on fighting what you cannot change. Think about how much of our daily suffering comes from our resistance to what is. We resist the fact that we are stuck in traffic. We clench our fists, our blood pressure rises, we curse our luck. The traffic does not change. The only thing that changes is that we have filled our own body and mind with poison. The traffic itself is neutral. It is just cars on a road. Our resistance to it is what creates the suffering. We resist a criticism from a colleague. We spend hours, even days, replaying it in our minds, defending ourselves in imaginary arguments, feeling the sting of anger and resentment. The criticism has already been said. It exists in the past. Our resistance, our non-acceptance of the fact that it happened, is what keeps the wound fresh and painful. We resist a feeling of sadness or loneliness. We try to push it away with food, with entertainment, with work, with any distraction we can find. But the sadness is still there, lurking beneath the surface, and our efforts to suppress it only make it stronger and more persistent, like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The great spiritual law is this: what you resist persists. The energy of resistance is like fuel for the fire of your suffering. By fighting reality, you chain yourself to it. The moment you practice acceptance, you begin to dissolve the chains. Let us be very clear. Acceptance does not mean you cannot take action to change a situation. In fact, acceptance is the necessary first step for any effective action. If you have a thorn in your foot, you do not find relief by denying the thorn is there or by wishing it would magically disappear. The first step to relief is to accept the reality. There is a thorn in my foot. Once you have calmly accepted this fact, without panic or drama, you're in the best possible position to take clear, intelligent action. You can find tweezers and carefully remove it. If you are resisting, panicking, and screaming that there should not be a thorn in your foot, you are far less likely to act effectively. You might thrash around and drive the thorn in even deeper. Acceptance is not about being passive. It is about seeing the situation with perfect clarity, so you can act from a place of power and wisdom, not from a place of blind emotional reaction. Your power lies not in controlling the world, but in how you respond to the world, and acceptance gives you the freedom to choose your response. Think of a mighty oak tree in a storm. A rigid, brittle tree resists the wind, and so it is the first to snap and break. The mighty oak, however, has a different kind of strength. It bends with the wind. It yields. It accepts the force of the storm. Its branches sway and dance, but its roots hold firm deep in the earth. By yielding to the reality of the wind, it preserves its core strength and remains standing long after the storm has passed. This is the power of acceptance. It is a deep, flexible resilience. You stop being the brittle tree that breaks and become the mighty oak that bends. You accept the reality of the storm, whether that storm is a financial crisis, a health issue, a relationship ending, or a difficult emotion. You meet it with an open, non-resistant posture. This does not mean you enjoy it. It means you stop wasting your precious life force on the futile wish that it were not happening. So how do we practice this radical acceptance, especially with things that are deeply painful? It begins with the body. When you experience a difficult emotion like fear, anger, or grief, where do you feel it in your body? True acceptance starts by dropping the story in your mind, the story of why you are angry or what the fear means, and bringing your awareness directly to the raw, physical sensations of the emotion. Perhaps you feel anger as a tightness in your jaw and a heat in your chest. Perhaps you feel fear as a knot in your stomach and a coldness in your hands. Instead of running from these sensations, you do something truly radical. You turn toward them with curiosity and kindness. You breathe into them. You allow them to be there, without needing them to go away. You say, with your inner attention, "Welcome, you are allowed to be here for now." You are not the anger. You are not the fear. You are the spacious, loving awareness that can hold the anger, that can hold the fear. When you do this, something miraculous happens. The emotion, which was previously a solid, terrifying monster, begins to lose its power. By meeting it with the light of your accepting awareness, it begins to soften, to untangle, to dissolve. You discover that at the core of every difficult emotion is simply a wave of pure energy. It rises, it crests, and if you allow it to, it will pass. It is only your resistance that holds it in place and turns it into a chronic state of suffering. To accept your emotions is not to be controlled by them. It is the only way to be truly free from them. You must feel it to heal it. Acceptance is the alchemy that turns the lead of your pain into the gold of your wisdom. Every moment of suffering, when met with acceptance, becomes a teacher. The difficult person in your life is not just an annoyance. They are an opportunity to practice patience and compassion. A failure is not just a disaster. It is an opportunity to learn humility and resilience. A painful feeling is not just a burden. It is an invitation to deepen your capacity for self-love and courage. This power of acceptance extends to yourself. For many of us, the hardest thing to accept is our own perceived flaws and imperfections. We live in a state of constant low-grade war with ourselves. We criticize our bodies. We judge our past mistakes. We berate ourselves for not being smarter, or more successful, or more disciplined. This inner critic is the most relentless source of our own unhappiness. The practice of acceptance means turning that same gentle, non-judgmental awareness toward yourself. It means accepting that you are a human being, a work in progress, a messy and beautiful combination of light and shadow. It means forgiving yourself for your past mistakes, knowing that you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. It means accepting your imperfections, not as flaws to be fixed, but as unique parts of who you are. Embrace your whole self, for even your shadows are part of your light. Self-acceptance is not an excuse for bad behavior or a lack of growth. On the contrary, it is the only fertile ground from which true, lasting change can grow. You cannot hate yourself into a better version of yourself. You can only love and accept yourself into one. When you accept yourself as you are, you stop wasting energy on self-criticism and shame, and you liberate that energy for genuine growth and transformation. You can look at your habits and patterns with clarity and compassion, and then choose to make changes from a place of self-worth, not self-loathing. Imagine the freedom of living a life without resistance. Imagine moving through your days with the grace of the oak tree, bending with the winds of change but never breaking. Imagine meeting every experience, pleasant or unpleasant, with an open heart. Imagine being at peace with yourself, exactly as you are. This is not a distant utopian dream. It is the direct result of cultivating the power of acceptance. It is the unbreakable core of your being. When you have stillness, you can see reality clearly. When you have acceptance, you can be with reality peacefully. From this foundation of stillness and acceptance, all wise action, all deep love, and all unshakable power naturally arise. Start today. Pick one small thing you have been resisting. Perhaps it is a messy room, a traffic jam, or a minor ache in your body. For just a few moments, drop the fight. Breathe, and allow it to be exactly as it is. Feel the subtle shift from tension to ease. That feeling is the beginning of freedom. That is the feeling of your own true power. To continue our journey and explore the deeper chambers of your inner strength, subscribe for more chapters from What Monks Never Told You About True Power. The path inward is endless, and the greatest discoveries are still to come. Chapter 4. The Voice in Your Head, Taming the Inner Narrator. We have walked together through the gate of stillness, learning to quiet the turbulent waters of the mind. We have found the unbreakable core of our being through the power of acceptance, learning to meet reality with an open and courageous heart. In the sacred space these practices create, we now come face to face with the single greatest source of human turmoil, the most persistent disturber of our inner peace. We come to meet the voice in the head. This ceaseless inner narrator is the ghost in our machine, the uninvited roommate who never stops talking, judging, worrying, and commenting on every moment of our lives. It is the architect of our anxiety, the author of our self-doubt, and the jailer of our limiting beliefs. For most people, this voice is not just a voice. They believe it is who they are. They are completely identified with its every utterance, tossed about by its every whim. The journey to true, unshakable power requires the single most important liberation a human being can achieve: the liberation from the tyranny of the compulsive mind. This chapter is your guide to that freedom. It is the map to understanding, detaching from, and ultimately befriending this inner voice, transforming it from a tyrannical master into a useful and sometimes even quiet servant. Before we proceed, it is crucial to understand that this voice is not your enemy. To declare war on your own mind is to engage in a civil war you can never win. The voice in your head is not some malevolent entity plotting your downfall. It is a biological and psychological mechanism that has been conditioned over a lifetime. It is a tool that has become overgrown, a servant that has forgotten it is not the master. Its primary motivations are, in a very distorted way, to protect you, to help you make sense of the world, and to maintain a consistent sense of self. It is like an over-caffeinated and deeply insecure security guard, seeing potential threats in every shadow and constantly shouting warnings that are no longer relevant. Our task is not to kill this guard, but to calm him down, to retrain him, to thank him for his service, and to gently but firmly let him know that we, the silent, aware presence behind the voice, are now in charge. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. This simple truth, when fully realized, will change everything. Let us first take a closer look at this narrator to understand its nature without judgment. Spend a day, or even just an hour, trying to consciously listen to it. What does it talk about? You will find it is almost never in the present moment. It is either dredging up the past or rehearsing the future. It replays old conversations, dissecting what you should have said. It agonizes over past mistakes, big and small, bathing you in regret and shame. It brings up old hurts, reopening wounds you thought had healed. Or it catapults you into the future, a future that is almost always filled with problems. It creates endless to-do lists. It worries about what might go wrong. It plays out imaginary, catastrophic scenarios. What if I lose my job? What if they don't like me? What if I get sick? What if I fail? It is a machine for creating anxiety. Notice also its tone. Is it kind? Is it compassionate? Rarely. More often than not, it is a harsh critic, a relentless judge. It compares you to others, and you always come up short. It points out your flaws. It calls you stupid, lazy, or not good enough. It is a constant stream of negativity, a background static of dissatisfaction that colors your entire experience of life. This voice is the product of a lifetime of conditioning. It is made up of the absorbed voices of your parents, your teachers, your culture, and your past experiences. The critical tone might be a direct echo of a critical parent. The constant worry might be learned from an anxious caregiver. The belief that you are not good enough might be a conclusion you drew from a failure in childhood. These are not your original thoughts. They are learned programs, old software running on the hardware of your brain. And because you have been listening to this programming your entire life, you have come to believe that it is you. You think you are the one who is worried. You are the one who is critical. You are the one who is not good enough. This is the great case of mistaken identity. The beginning of freedom is to see these thoughts not as facts, but as mental events. They are simply clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. They are not the sky itself. To truly tame this narrator, we must first become intimately familiar with its different disguises, its favorite roles. While the voice is multifaceted, it primarily operates through three main characters on the stage of your mind: the inner critic, the worrier, and the storyteller. By learning to recognize these characters, you can begin to see them for what they are, not you, but conditioned patterns of thought. Let us first shine a loving light on the most vicious of these characters, the inner critic. This is the part of the voice that specializes in judgment, shame, and self-deprecation. It is the voice that whispers, "You idiot, why did you say that?" after a social interaction. It is the voice that screams, "You'll never be successful, you don't have what it takes," when you dream of a better life. It is the voice that looks in the mirror and lists every single flaw, every wrinkle, every pound. The inner critic's job is to keep you small, to keep you safe within the known boundaries of your comfort zone. Its logic is deeply flawed, but rooted in a primitive survival instinct. It believes that if it can criticize you harshly enough, It will prevent you from making mistakes, from being rejected by the tribe, from failing. It operates on the insane belief that shame is a good motivator. It is the voice of tough love gone terribly, terribly wrong. It is a relentless bully that lives inside your own head. Imagine if you had a friend who spoke to you the way your inner critic does. Imagine this friend followed you around all day saying things like, "Your hair looks terrible today. That was a stupid idea, don't even bother. Everyone else is smarter and more talented than you. You really messed that up, you always mess things up. No one really likes you." How long would you keep this person as a friend? You would probably tell them to get lost within a day. And yet we allow this voice to run rampant in our own minds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We not only allow it, we believe it. We take its criticisms as gospel truth. This constant barrage of inner negativity is exhausting. It drains your life force, erodes your confidence, and paralyzes you from taking risks and pursuing your dreams. The first step in disarming the inner critic is simply to hear it, to recognize its tone. When you hear that familiar, harsh, judgmental voice, you can pause and say to yourself, "Ah, there is the inner critic again. Hello, critic, I hear you." You do not argue with it. You do not fight it. You simply notice it. This simple act of noticing creates a space between you and the voice. In that space, you are no longer the one being criticized. You are the one who is aware of the criticism. In that space is your power. You begin to see it as a conditioned, repetitive, and rather boring mental habit, like a broken record stuck on the same negative track. Its power comes from its ability to remain unseen, to masquerade as you. Once you shine the light of your awareness on it, it begins to lose its grip. The second character we must meet is the worrier, also known as the catastrophizer. This is the part of your mind that lives perpetually in a negative future. The worrier's favorite game is what if? What if the plane crashes? What if I get fired? What if my children get hurt? What if this headache is a brain tumor? The worrier is a master storyteller, but all of its stories are horror stories. It can take a tiny, insignificant seed of doubt and grow it into a towering tree of terror in a matter of seconds. Its intention, like the critics, is a misguided form of protection. It believes that by imagining every possible negative outcome, it can somehow prepare you for them or prevent them from happening. But what it actually does is make you suffer for things that have not happened and most likely never will happen. It forces you to live through 1,000 tragedies in your imagination, filling your body with the real stress hormones of fear and anxiety, all for events that are not real. As the old saying goes, my life has been filled with terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. This is the work of the worrier. Living under the spell of the worrier is like trying to drive a car while looking only at a horror movie playing on the windshield. You cannot see the actual road in front of you. You cannot enjoy the journey. You are constantly bracing for a crash that is only happening on the screen. The reality of this present moment might be perfectly safe and peaceful. You might be sitting in a comfortable chair with a roof over your head and enough food to eat. But in your mind, you are battling monsters in a terrifying future. To break free from the warrior's spell, you must anchor yourself fiercely in the present moment. The tools of stillness we have already discussed are your greatest allies here. When you feel the familiar grip of anxiety, the churning stomach, the racing heart, it is a signal that the worrier has taken over. This is your cue to come back to your body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the breath moving in and out of your lungs. Name 5 things you can see in the room right now. Name 4 things you can feel. Name 3 things you can hear. This practice, often called grounding, pulls your awareness out of the imaginary future and plants it firmly back into the reality of the here and now. You can also challenge the warrior's stories directly. When the thought, What if I fail this presentation and everyone thinks I'm an idiot? Arises, you can ask, is that true? Is that absolutely true? What is a more likely outcome? And even if I do stumble, will I survive? Will I learn something from it? By questioning the thoughts instead of blindly accepting them, you introduce logic and reason into a purely emotional and irrational process. You take back the steering wheel from the panicked passenger and put your calm, aware self back in the driver's seat. Your strength is not in the future. Your strength is now. The warrior can only exist in the future. By returning to the now, you step out of its domain. The third and most subtle character is the storyteller, the voice of the ego. This is the part of the mind that constructs and maintains your personal identity, the story of me. This story is a collection of memories, beliefs, and labels. I am a successful lawyer. I am a victim of a difficult childhood. I am an anxious person. I am a spiritual person. I am the one who was wronged in that relationship. The storyteller creates this narrative to give you a sense of identity, a fixed point of reference in a constantly changing world. While a sense of self is necessary to function, the ego's story often becomes a rigid prison. We become so attached to our stories that we defend them to the death. The ego needs to be right. It thrives on conflict and drama because these things reinforce its sense of separateness. It constantly compares itself to others, leading to feelings of superiority or inferiority, both of which are forms of suffering. It clings to past grievances because a victim identity can feel powerful in a perverse way. It resists change because change threatens the stability of its story. The storyteller is the voice that is constantly narrating your life, putting a spin on everything that happens to fit its pre-existing narrative. If your story is, I am unlovable, you will interpret every neutral event through that filter. A friend not returning a text message immediately becomes proof that they are abandoning you. If your story is, I am a victim, you will constantly find evidence of how the world is against you. The traffic, the rude cashier, the rainy day, all become part of the conspiracy against me. Living inside this story is like watching the same movie over and over again. It is predictable and safe, but it is not life. Life is fluid, mysterious, and constantly new. To be free, you must be willing to hold your story more lightly. You must realize that you are not the story. You are the one who is creating the story. And if you are the creator, you can also be the editor. You can choose to write a new one. The path to taming these three faces of the narrator is the path of detachment. It is the conscious and repeated practice of creating space between you, the silent witness, and the stream of thought. Let's explore some practical techniques to strengthen this muscle of detachment. The first, as we mentioned, is to label your thoughts. When you hear the familiar tirade of the critic, simply say in your mind, "Ah, that's the critic," or more simply, "judging." When the mind spins a tale of future doom, label it worrying. When it starts defending a past hurt, label it storytelling. This act of labeling is incredibly powerful. It changes the thought from a direct experience into an object of your observation. You are no longer lost in the thought. You are watching it. A thought that is watched is a thought that has lost its hypnotic power over you. Another wonderfully effective technique is to personify the voice, even give it a humorous name. You might decide to call your inner critic Grumpy Gertrude or your worrier Anxious Albert. When you hear the voice start its usual routine, you can smile and say, "Oh, Gertrude is on a roll today," or "Albert is really spinning a good one this time." This may sound silly, but it is a profound act of spiritual subversion. It uses humor to deflate the ego's seriousness. The critic and the worrier thrive on being taken seriously. They lose all their power when you can meet them with a light and knowing smile. You are not mocking yourself. You are recognizing the absurd and mechanical nature of these conditioned thought patterns. You are refusing to be their victim any longer. Perhaps the most profound practice of detachment is to directly question the validity of your thoughts. This is the heart of a powerful process of self-inquiry. When a stressful thought arises, for example, "My partner doesn't appreciate me," instead of automatically believing it and spiraling into resentment, you can hold it in your awareness and ask 4 simple questions. 1. Is it true? Can you really know for a fact that they do not appreciate you? The mind will rush to say yes, but be still and truly question it. 2. Can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you be 100% certain, beyond any shadow of a doubt? The answer to this, if you are honest, is almost always no. You cannot know another person's inner world. 3. How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? When you believe the thought, "My partner doesn't appreciate me," how does it make you feel? It makes you feel angry, sad, distant. It makes you act cold and defensive. It creates conflict. You suffer. You can see clearly the cause and effect. Believing the thought creates the suffering. 4. Who would you be without the thought? Imagine for a moment that you are in the exact same situation, but you are not thinking that thought. You are simply with your partner. How would you feel? You might feel peaceful, open, loving. You might notice the small ways they do show appreciation that you were previously blind to. Without the story, there is no suffering. There is only reality. This practice does not deny your feelings. It shows you that your feelings are not caused by the external event, but by your thoughts about the event. When you see this, you are free. The world no longer has the power to make you suffer. Only your thoughts about the world have that power, and you are learning to no longer be their slave. Once you have practiced detachment and created some space from the incessant narrator, you can move to the next level of this work, consciously rewriting the script. You are not just a passive witness, you are also a creator. You can consciously choose the thoughts you want to cultivate in the garden of your mind. This is not about suppressing negative thoughts, which we know does not work. It is about gently and consistently planting the seeds of more supportive, loving, and empowering thoughts. You begin to cultivate an inner ally, a compassionate self, to balance out the voice of the critic. This new voice is the voice of unconditional love and wisdom that is your true nature. How do you cultivate this voice? You start by talking to yourself in the same way you would talk to a beloved friend who is hurting. When you make a mistake, instead of letting the inner critic berate you, you can consciously pause and say to yourself, "It's okay. You did your best. Everyone makes mistakes. What can we learn from this?" When you are feeling scared, instead of letting the worrier catastrophize, you can say, "I know you're scared. It's understandable. I am here with you. We will get through this one step at a time." This is not just empty positive thinking. This is the active practice of self-compassion. It is re-parenting yourself with the love and kindness you may not have received. It is a radical act of self-love that rewires your brain over time. The more you practice speaking to yourself with kindness, the quieter the critic becomes and the stronger the voice of your inner ally grows. Another powerful way to rewrite the script is through the conscious use of affirmations or mantras. These are not about magically changing reality, but about changing the focus of your attention and aligning your inner state with what you want to create. Instead of letting your mind default to its "I'm not good enough" program, you can consciously and repeatedly introduce a new program such as "I am worthy and deserving of love and success," or "I trust the process of life," or "I am calm, centered, and powerful." It is important to choose statements that feel at least somewhat believable to you and to say them with feeling. Repeat them in the morning, repeat them during the day, write them down. You are consciously carving new neural pathways in your brain. You are taking charge of your inner dialogue and steering it in the direction of your choosing. You are no longer letting the old conditioned programs run your life. Finally, the most powerful tool for transforming the inner narrator from a source of misery to a source of joy is the practice of gratitude. The default mode of the narrator is to focus on what is wrong, what is lacking, what is missing. Gratitude is the conscious act of shifting your attention to what is right, what is abundant, what is already here. It is a direct antidote to the poison of the critic and the worrier. You cannot be in a state of genuine gratitude and a state of fear or resentment at the same time. They are mutually exclusive vibrations. The practice is simple, but its effects are profound. Every day, take some time to consciously look for things to be grateful for. Do not just make a mental list. Truly feel the gratitude in your body. Feel thankful for the breath in your lungs, for the heart that is beating without your command. Feel thankful for the roof over your head, for the food you have to eat, for the clean water you drink. Feel thankful for the people in your life, for the beauty of nature, for the simple gift of being alive. The more you water the seeds of gratitude, the more your entire inner landscape will transform. The narrator's focus will begin to shift automatically. It will start to notice the good. It will start to see abundance instead of lack. This practice, done consistently, will change your life from the inside out more profoundly than any external achievement ever could. The journey of taming the inner narrator is not a battle to be won. It is a dance to be learned. It is a lifelong practice of awareness, detachment, and compassionate redirection. There will be days when you are completely lost in your thoughts, and that is okay. The moment you realize you are lost is the moment you are found again. In that moment of realizing, you are back in the seat of the witness, the silent, aware presence that you are. Be patient and kind with yourself. You are unlearning a lifetime of mental conditioning. It takes time. But with each moment you choose awareness over automatic thought. With each time you meet your critic with compassion, with each time you bring your worrier back to the present moment, you are reclaiming your power. You are remembering who you truly are. You are not the noisy, fearful, judgmental voice in your head. You are the deep, quiet, unshakable peace behind it. You are the sky, not the clouds. And from this place of true identity, you become the master of your inner world, and thus, the master of your life. Chapter 5. The Currency of the Universe, the Power of Attention. We have journeyed deep into the inner landscape. We have learned to be still, to accept what is, and to lovingly disarm the conditioned voice in our heads. Now, having cleared this sacred ground, we arrive at the source of all creation in our lives. We come to understand the most potent, most vital, and most sought-after resource in the universe. This resource is not money, it is not time, it is not social status. It is your attention. Your attention is the currency of your reality. Where you choose to spend it, you are casting a vote for what you want more of in your life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life grows. This is not a metaphor. It is the fundamental operating principle of human consciousness. To become truly powerful is to become the sovereign master of your own attention. It is to learn how to gather its scattered, fragmented light and forge it into a coherent, laser-like beam that you can direct at will. In a world that is engaged in an all-out war for this precious currency, reclaiming your attention is the ultimate act of rebellion and the most profound act of self-love. This chapter will show you how. Let us begin by truly grasping the nature of attention. Think of your awareness as a universal, formless light. Your attention is the mechanism that focuses this light. It is like a flashlight in a vast, dark warehouse that contains everything you could possibly experience: joy, sorrow, peace, anxiety, abundance, lack, solutions, problems. The warehouse contains it all, but you can only experience the part of it that is illuminated by the beam of your flashlight. If your flashlight is pointed at the corner labeled "All My Past Failures," then that is your reality. The failures feel solid, overwhelming, and all-encompassing. If you point it at the corner labeled "everything I'm worried about in the future," then anxiety and fear become your world. But if you deliberately swing the beam of your flashlight to the corner labeled "everything I'm grateful for right now," your entire experienced reality transforms in an instant, even though the contents of the warehouse have not changed. The power is not in changing the warehouse. The power is in where you point the flashlight. Most people live their lives with a broken flashlight. The beam flickers erratically, pulled this way and that by every sound and shadow. It is hijacked by the news, by a notification on their phone, by a passing negative thought, by the demands of others. Their attention is not their own. It is a commodity that is being mined, packaged, and sold to the highest bidder. We live in what has been called an attention economy. Corporations worth trillions of dollars have armies of the world's brightest engineers and psychologists working around the clock with one single goal: to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible. Your phone, your social media feeds, the news cycles, the streaming services, they are all exquisitely designed to be addicting. They use principles of intermittent variable rewards, the same mechanism that makes slot machines so compelling, to keep you scrolling, clicking, and watching. Every time you get a like, a comment, or see a new juicy piece of gossip, you get a tiny hit of the pleasure chemical dopamine in your brain. This creates a compulsive loop, a craving for more. You pick up your phone to check one thing, and an hour later, you emerge from a trance-like state, feeling drained, anxious, and vaguely dissatisfied, not even remembering what you were looking for in the first place. This is not an accident. It is a design, and the spiritual cost of this design is immense. When your attention is constantly fragmented and scattered, you lose the ability to think deeply, to connect meaningfully with others, to be present with yourself, and to create anything of value. You live in a state of perpetual distraction, a low-grade mental fog. Your life force, your precious creative energy, is being siphoned away, one click at a time. You become a passive consumer of reality rather than an active creator of it. You become like a ship without a rudder, tossed about on the chaotic ocean of digital information, going wherever the strongest current pulls you. This is the very definition of powerlessness. Therefore, the first and most critical step in harnessing the power of attention is to declare your sovereignty. It is to make a conscious decision that your attention is your own sacred property, and you will no longer give it away cheaply or unconsciously. You will become a conscious investor of your attention, spending it only on that which nourishes you, empowers you, and aligns with the life you truly wish to live. This reclamation begins with cultivating the art of deliberate focus through the practice of single-tasking. Our culture glorifies multitasking, wearing it as a badge of honor that signifies productivity and importance. But neuroscience has shown us that multitasking is a myth. The brain cannot actually focus on two cognitive tasks at once. What it does instead is switch rapidly between tasks. This constant switching comes at a high cost. It depletes your mental energy, increases stress, and leads to poorer quality work with more mistakes. More importantly, from a spiritual perspective, it trains your mind to be scattered and shallow. It prevents you from ever entering a state of deep presence and flow, where true creativity and fulfillment are found. Single-tasking, on the other hand, is a profound spiritual practice. It is the act of bringing your full, undivided attention to one thing at a time. It is a form of meditation in action. When you are eating, just eat. Do not watch television, scroll through your phone, or worry about your next meeting. Pay attention to the food. See its colors and textures, smell its aroma, taste each bite with your full awareness. You will not only enjoy your food more, but you will also find a moment of deep peace and presence. When you are washing the dishes, just wash the dishes. Feel the warmth of the water on your hands. Hear the sound of the plates clinking together. See the soap bubbles shimmering. In this simple act, You can find a gateway to the stillness we spoke of in an earlier chapter. When you are talking to a loved one, give them the precious gift of your full attention. Put your phone away, look into their eyes. Listen not just to their words, but to the feeling behind the words. This is how you create real connection and intimacy. By practicing single tasking with these mundane activities, you are retraining your brain. You are strengthening your attention muscle. You are learning to resist the pull of distraction and to place your focus where you choose. This is the foundational training for wielding your attention as a powerful creative tool. Your life is not the string of big events. It is the string of present moments. Reclaim your moments, and you will reclaim your life. The next step is to go on a conscious attention diet. Just as you would not eat junk food all day and expect to have a healthy body, you cannot consume a diet of mental junk food and expect to have a healthy, powerful mind. An attention diet means becoming a ruthless curator of the information and stimuli you allow into your consciousness. It is about consciously choosing your inputs. Take an honest inventory. How much time do you spend mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds, getting outraged by the news, or consuming low-vibration entertainment? Be honest, without judgment. This is your starting point. Now, begin to make conscious choices. Unfollow accounts that make you feel envious, angry, or inadequate. Limit your exposure to the news to once a day, from a neutral source, just to stay informed, rather than to be emotionally hijacked. Mute notifications on your phone. All of them. Your phone should be a tool that you use, not a master that summons you. Create sacred, tech-free times and spaces in your life. Perhaps the first hour of the day is for you, for meditation, journaling, or quiet reflection, not for checking emails and social media. Perhaps the dinner table is a phone-free zone. Perhaps your bedroom is a sanctuary for rest, not a media consumption center. This is not about deprivation, it is about creating space. When you stop filling every spare moment with external noise, you create a vacuum. And into that vacuum, your own inner wisdom, creativity, and peace can arise. You start to hear your own thoughts again, not just the echoes of the internet. You start to feel your own feelings. You start to connect with the world around you in a deeper way. An attention diet is an act of profound self-respect. It is saying that your inner peace is more important than knowing the latest gossip. It is declaring that your mental and spiritual well-being is not for sale. You are the guardian at the gate of your own mind. Choose wisely what you allow to enter. Once you have begun to reclaim your attention from the clutches of distraction and curated your informational diet, you can begin to use it as the powerful creative force that it is. This begins with the simple but profound practice of setting a daily intention. Your mind will naturally drift toward its conditioned habits, which for most people are habits of worry and complaint. An intention acts as a rudder, gently guiding your attention throughout the day toward a chosen destination. When you wake up in the morning, before you do anything else, take a moment to set an intention for your attention. It can be a simple statement. Today, I will focus on solutions, not problems. Today, I will look for the good in every person I meet. Today, my attention will rest on feelings of peace and gratitude. Write it down, say it out loud, feel it in your body. This simple act primes your reticular activating system, a part of your brain that acts as a filter for information. When you set an intention to focus on solutions, your brain will literally start to notice opportunities and ideas that you would have been blind to otherwise. An intention is like giving your subconscious mind its marching orders for the day. It is the difference between drifting aimlessly and sailing with purpose. Now we arrive at the heart of creative power, focusing your attention on what you want to create, not on what you fear or what you lack. The universe is a vast field of infinite potential, and your focused attention is the signal you send out to call a specific potentiality into your experience. This is the secret behind what people call the law of attraction, but it is much more practical and less mystical than it is often portrayed. Worrying is a powerful form of this principle working in reverse. When you worry, you are taking your powerful, creative attention and focusing it intensely on a future you do not want. You are visualizing it, feeling the emotions of it, and bathing your entire being in the vibration of it. You are, in essence, praying for what you do not want. And by doing so, you make yourself more likely to act in ways that bring about that very outcome. And you certainly make yourself suffer as if it has already happened. The conscious creator does the opposite. They take their attention off the unwanted and place it deliberately on the wanted. This is not about denying that problems exist. It is about shifting your primary focus from the problem to the desired solution. If you are experiencing a lack of money, the untrained mind will focus on the bills, the scarcity, the fear. Its attention is on lack. This focus on lack only creates more feelings of lack and leads to desperate, fearful actions. The conscious creator, while acknowledging the current reality of the bills, will deliberately shift their attention to the feeling of abundance and security. They will spend time visualizing what it would feel like to be financially free. They will focus on gratitude for the money they do have, even if it's a small amount. They will focus their attention on brainstorming creative ideas for generating more income. By shifting their attention, they shift their emotional state from fear to empowerment. And from this empowered state, they are far more likely to take inspired, effective action that actually changes their financial situation. You cannot solve a problem with the same energy that created it. Shifting your attention is how you change your energy. The single most powerful practice for shifting your attention and transforming your life is the practice of gratitude. We touched upon this in the previous chapter, but its importance cannot be overstated. Gratitude is the ultimate attention shifter. It is the fastest, most direct path from a state of lack to a state of abundance. The mind's default setting is to scan for threats and problems, a leftover from our evolutionary past. This creates a scarcity mindset, where we are always focused on what is missing. Gratitude is the conscious override of this program. It is the deliberate act of scanning your life for what is good, what is working, what is a blessing. The practice can be as simple or as elaborate as you wish. You can keep a gratitude journal, writing down 3 to 5 things you are grateful for each day. But do not just write a list. For each item, take a moment to truly feel the gratitude. If you are grateful for your morning coffee, do not just write coffee. Close your eyes. Remember the warmth of the mug in your hands, the rich aroma, the comforting taste. Feel the genuine appreciation for that simple pleasure. If you are grateful for a friend, bring their face to mind. Remember a time they made you laugh or helped you through a tough time. Let the warm feeling of love and appreciation for them fill your heart. This feeling is the magic. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is what changes your vibrational state. The more you practice this, the more you train your brain to see the good. The world around you will not change, but your experience of it will be completely transformed. You will start to notice beauty everywhere. You will see kindness in strangers. You will feel a deep and abiding sense of peace and well-being, because your attention is now focused on the evidence that life is good and that you are supported. What you appreciate appreciates. This is an immutable law. The more you focus on and appreciate the good in your life, the more good you will have to appreciate. Finally, we can use our attention in the powerful practice of visualization. This is the art of using your inner screen, your imagination, to create a detailed blueprint of a desired future. Your subconscious mind, which governs much of your behavior and your body's functions, does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you repeatedly visualize a desired outcome with intense feeling, You are programming your subconscious mind to accept this new reality as true. This is not about daydreaming. It is a focused, deliberate act of creation. To practice visualization, find a quiet time and place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and relax your body. Then, begin to build a mental movie of yourself, having already achieved your goal. Do not watch it as if you are a spectator in a theater. Step into the movie. See it through your own eyes. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Most importantly, how do you feel? Feel the joy, the confidence, the relief, the gratitude of having achieved your goal. Make the feeling as real and as intense as you can. The feeling is the fuel that powers the visualization. For example, if your goal is to be more confident, visualize yourself walking into a room full of people, standing tall, smiling, and engaging in easy, flowing conversation. Feel the sense of calm, self-assuredness, and connection in every cell of your body. By doing this regularly, you are creating new neural pathways. You are rehearsing a new way of being. This makes it infinitely easier to actually embody that confidence when the real situation arises. You have already been there in your mind. Visualization aligns your energy, focuses your attention, and programs your subconscious for success. It makes you a vibrational match for the reality you wish to create, so you naturally begin to attract the people, opportunities, and resources that will help you make it a reality. Your attention is your superpower. It is the wand that you wave to shape your world. In a world that is doing everything it can to steal this power from you, your greatest spiritual work is to reclaim it, to guard it fiercely, and to wield it with conscious intent. Stop giving your precious focus to things that drain you and make you feel small. Withdraw your energy from worry, from complaint, from judgment. Invest your attention in the present moment. Invest it in single tasking. Invest it in a diet of nourishing information. Invest it in gratitude. Invest it in a clear vision for the life you want. You are the artist of your life, and your attention is the paintbrush. Every moment you are painting a new stroke on the canvas of your existence. Choose today to paint with bold, beautiful colors. Choose to paint a masterpiece. Where you place your attention is where you place your life. Place it well. To continue this profound journey into the heart of your true power and learn how to navigate the world with effortless strength and grace, subscribe for more chapters from What Monks Never Told You About True Power. The path to mastering your inner world is the path to mastering your destiny. Chapter 6. The Sacred Art of Letting Go. The Power of Non-Attachment. We have traveled far on this inner journey, moving from the illusion of the external world to the solid ground of our own being. We have cultivated stillness, which gives us clarity. We have practiced acceptance, which gives us peace. We have learned to witness and tame the inner narrator, which gives us freedom from our own minds. And we have discovered the creative magic of our attention, which gives us the power to shape our reality. Now we stand before a gate that leads to a new and profound level of liberation, a state of being that the great masters and monks speak of in hushed, reverent tones. It is a power that looks like its opposite to the uninitiated eye. It is the power found in surrender, the strength found in yielding, the victory found in letting go. This is the sacred art of non-attachment, and it is the key to unlocking a life of fearless grace, unshakable peace, and effortless flow. To the conditioned mind, the idea of non-attachment sounds like a recipe for failure and apathy. We are taught from birth to attach ourselves fiercely to outcomes. We are told to want things, to strive for them, to lock our jaws onto our goals and never let go. Our happiness, our self-worth, our very identity are all tied up in achieving specific results. Getting the promotion, winning the game, securing the relationship, making the money. We believe that our intense attachment to these outcomes is the very engine that drives us to succeed. We think that if we were to let go of our attachment, we would simply stop trying. We would become passive, lazy, and indifferent. We would lie on the couch and let life pass us by. This is the great misunderstanding of non-attachment. It is the ego's frightened interpretation of a spiritual truth it cannot comprehend. Non-attachment is not apathy. It is the farthest thing from it. Apathy is the state of not caring. Non-attachment is the state of caring so deeply about your actions, your integrity, and the quality of your effort that you are willing to detach from the one thing you cannot control. The result. Imagine a master archer preparing to shoot an arrow. She does not approach the task with apathy. She is deeply engaged, passionately focused. She pours all of her being into the process. She feels the texture of the bow in her hand. She precisely gauges the wind. She controls her breath, stilling her body and mind. She pulls the string back with practiced, focused strength. Her entire universe narrows to the bow, the arrow, and the target. This is a state of profound caring and engagement. She is attached to the quality of her action in this present moment. But here is the secret. The moment the arrow leaves the string, she lets go. She lets go completely. She watches it fly, but her inner peace is no longer tied to whether it hits the exact center of the bullseye. She has done her part to the absolute best of her ability. The rest is in the hands of the universe, the wind, the subtle physics of the arrow's flight. If it hits the bullseye, she feels a quiet satisfaction. If it misses, she feels no despair. She simply takes a breath, learns what she can from the shot, and prepares for the next one with the same focused passion. This is non-attachment. It is the potent combination of passionate, fully engaged action followed by a peaceful surrender to the outcome. Now contrast this with the attached archer. He is filled with anxiety before he even begins. His self-worth is on the line. He's thinking, I have to hit the bullseye. If I don't, everyone will think I'm a failure. My reputation will be ruined. This fear makes his hands tremble. His breath is shallow. His focus is split between the target and his fear of missing it. He releases the arrow from a place of tension and desperation. While the arrow is in the air, he holds his breath, his body clenched in a knot of hope and fear. If it hits the bullseye, he feels a surge of ecstatic relief, a validation of his worth. But this feeling is fragile and short-lived. Now he has to do it again, and the pressure is even greater. If the arrow misses, he is crushed. He is filled with shame, anger, and self-loathing. He has not just missed a target, he believes he is a failure. The attached person lives on a violent emotional roller coaster, their inner state completely at the mercy of external events. The non-attached person walks on a steady, peaceful path, their inner state grounded in the integrity of their own actions. Which of these two archers is truly more powerful? Which is more free? The vast majority of our suffering is born from our attachments. We suffer not because of what happens, but because reality does not match our attached idea of how it should have happened. Let us examine the main forms of attachment that create this suffering, so we can begin to shine the light of our awareness on them. The most obvious is the attachment to success and its dark twin, the attachment to avoiding failure. When we are attached to success, our lives become a tightrope walk of anxiety. We are constantly striving, pushing, and worrying. We may compromise our health, our relationships, and even our ethics in pursuit of a goal. We live in a future where we imagine our happiness will finally begin once we achieve that one thing. But as we have discussed, this is a mirage. When we do succeed, the joy is often hollow and fleeting. The ego is satisfied for a moment, but then it immediately creates a new, higher goal to become attached to. The hunger is never satisfied. The attachment to avoiding failure is even more toxic. It paralyzes us. The fear of being seen as a failure keeps us from starting the business, from writing the book, from asking for the date, from speaking our truth. We stay in our small, safe comfort zones, and our souls slowly wither from a lack of aliveness and growth. We live a half-life, haunted by the ghosts of the risks we never took. Then there is the powerful attachment to the opinions of others. For so many of us, our emotional well-being is held hostage by what other people think of us. We are attached to the outcome of being liked, approved of, and respected. This forces us to wear masks, to curb our authenticity, to say yes when we mean no. We become emotional chameleons, changing our colors to match our surroundings, losing touch with who we truly are. If someone praises us, we feel a temporary high. If someone criticizes us or misunderstands us, we can be thrown into a pit of despair or rage for days. When you are attached to the opinions of others, you are not a sovereign being. You are a puppet, and everyone else is holding the strings. You have handed the key to your own happiness to a world of people who are mostly preoccupied with their own lives and their own attachments. Finally, and perhaps most fundamentally, we are attached to our idea of how things should be. The traffic should be lighter. My partner should be more considerate. The weather should be sunny. I should be healthier. I should be further along in my life. This should is the signature of the ego at war with reality. It is the ultimate form of resistance that we explored in the chapter on acceptance. Every time you find yourself thinking or saying the word should in relation to a present reality, you're in a state of attachment. You are attached to a picture in your head, and you are creating suffering for yourself because the world outside your head does not match the picture. This constant low-grade argument with what is the source of all our frustration, irritation, anger, and resentment. It is like drinking poison and expecting reality to change. The sacred art of letting go is the antidote to all of this. It is the conscious decision to release your white-knuckled grip on controlling the universe. It is the discovery that your true power lies not in forcing outcomes, but in flowing with life in a state of trust and grace. So how do we practice this? How do we move from a life of anxious attachment to one of peaceful, powerful flow? The first step is to shift your primary focus from the prize to the process. Whatever your goal is, fall in love with the doing of it. If you want to write a novel, do not fixate on the fantasy of being a best-selling author. Instead, fall in love with the daily act of sitting down and putting words on a page. Fall in love with the challenge of crafting a sentence, with the joy of discovering your characters, with the simple, sacred ritual of your creative practice. Pour your entire heart and soul into the process, making the work itself the reward. When you do this, the outcome becomes secondary. You are already fulfilled by the act of creation itself. The journey becomes the destination. This shift alone will liberate you from a world of anxiety and fill your life with a deep sense of purpose and joy, regardless of the external results. A powerful mantra to aid in this practice is to add the phrase, "this or something better," to all your desires and visualizations. In the last chapter, we talked about using your attention to visualize your desired reality. This is a powerful practice, but it can easily lead to attachment if you are not careful. To practice non-attachment, you hold the vision of your goal clearly and with feeling, but then you offer it up to a higher wisdom. You say to the universe, "This is what I would love to create. I am putting my energy and intention toward this, or something even better, for my highest good and the highest good of all." This is an act of profound humility and trust. It acknowledges that your conscious mind, with its limited perspective, may not know what is truly best for you. It releases the rigid demand that things must unfold in one specific way and opens you up to infinite possibilities. Perhaps the job you are so attached to getting is not the right fit, and the universe has an even more amazing opportunity waiting for you just around the corner. An opportunity you would be blind to if you were obsessed with only one outcome. By letting go of your specific timeline and blueprint, you allow for miracles. You allow for grace. You begin to co-create with life, rather than trying to dictate terms to it. Like any spiritual muscle, non-attachment is strengthened through practice, starting with small things. Our daily lives are a perfect training ground. Notice your attachments to minor outcomes. You are attached to the grocery store line moving quickly. You are attached to finding a good parking spot. You are attached to your favorite team winning. You are attached to the meal you ordered being perfect. When you notice these small attachments creating tension or frustration in your body, consciously practice letting them go. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, I release my attachment to this outcome. I can be at peace whether this happens or not. Feel the subtle but immediate release of tension in your body. Feel the space that opens up. By practicing with these small, insignificant things, you are training your nervous system. You are teaching yourself that your inner peace is not dependent on external conditions. You are building the resilience and trust you will need when you have to let go of bigger things, like a relationship, a job, or a dearly held dream. Imagine your life as a great river, flowing toward the ocean of universal consciousness. This river is life itself. It is wise, powerful, and it always knows the most direct path to the sea. The practice of attachment is like frantically trying to grab onto a branch or a rock on the riverbank. You are terrified of the current, terrified of the unknown journey ahead. So you cling, you struggle, and you resist the flow. Your struggle creates immense suffering, and all the while, the river is gently but relentlessly pulling you forward anyway. The art of letting go is the art of trusting the river. It is the courage to release your grip on the bank and allow the current to carry you. This does not mean you become a passive log. You are still an active participant. You are the swimmer. You can paddle, you can steer, you can navigate around obstacles, but you do it while honoring the direction and the power of the river's flow. You work with the current, not against it. You trust that the river of life is ultimately carrying you toward your highest good, even when it takes you through turbulent rapids or into dark, unknown canyons. This trust is the foundation of a fearless life. When you master the art of non-attachment, your entire being changes. You become light. The heavy burden of needing to control everything, of needing to be right, of needing to be approved of, simply falls away. You become fearless because if you are not attached to success or failure, what is there to be afraid of? You can take bold, creative risks. You can speak your deepest truth without worrying about how it will be received. You can love with an open heart, without the crippling fear of loss. You become incredibly resilient. When setbacks occur, as they inevitably do in life, they no longer have the power to crush you. You do not see them as failures, but simply as course corrections from the river, feedback from the universe. You learn the lesson, you adjust your course, and you continue to flow. It is the power that monks and mystics have cherished for centuries. It is not the power to command the world, to bend to your will. It is the far greater power to be at peace, to be joyful, and to be free, no matter which way the river of life flows. This is the unshakable strength that is your birthright. Chapter 7. The world as your mirror, the power of human connection. We have now delved deep into the inner sanctum, cultivating the powers of stillness, acceptance, detachment, and conscious attention. We have done the essential work of cleaning our own inner house, but this power is not meant to be hoarded in isolation. It is not meant to be perfected in a solitary cave, forever shielded from the messiness of the world. The true test of our inner strength, the final exam of our spiritual practice, takes place on the grand, chaotic, and beautiful stage of our relationships with other people. You can feel perfectly enlightened when you are meditating alone on a cushion, but the moment you engage with your family, your partner, your colleagues, or even a stranger in traffic, your true level of consciousness is revealed. It is in the mirror of our interactions with others that we see ourselves most clearly. Every person who enters our life is a sacred mirror, reflecting back to us the parts of ourselves that we love, the parts we deny, and the parts that are still in need of healing. To understand this principle is to transform every relationship in your life. from the most intimate to the most casual, into a powerful vehicle for your own awakening. The Great Mirror Principle is simple in its essence but profound in its implications. It states that the world you experience is not an objective reality, but a reflection of your own inner state. Specifically, the people you interact with act as mirrors for your own consciousness. This works in two ways, one pleasant and one often very challenging. The first way is that the qualities you genuinely admire and love in other people are a reflection of qualities that exist within you, perhaps in a dormant or unexpressed state. When you are deeply moved by someone's courage, it is because the seed of that same courage exists within your own soul. When you are inspired by someone's creativity, you are recognizing the creative spark that is your own birthright. When you deeply appreciate someone's kindness, it is because the capacity for that same deep kindness resides in your own heart. These people are not better than you. They are simply showing you a beautiful part of yourself. They are calling forth your own potential. To see the good in others is to recognize the good in yourself. This is why spending time with people who inspire you is so important. They help you remember the magnificent being you truly are. Now we come to the second, more challenging, and ultimately more transformative aspect of the mirror principle. The qualities that you judge, resent, or despise in other people are very often a reflection of a part of yourself that you have disowned, repressed, and pushed into the shadows of your subconscious. This is what the psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow self. The shadow contains all the parts of our personality that we have deemed unacceptable based on our upbringing and societal conditioning. It might contain our anger, our selfishness, our laziness, our arrogance, our vulnerability. We don't want to admit that these traits exist within us, so we project them outward onto other people and then attack them there. The thing that pushes your buttons the most in someone else is often a giant flashing arrow, pointing directly at an unexamined part of your own psyche. Let this sink in, for it is one of the most difficult and most liberating truths you will ever encounter. Think about a person who really irritates you. What is it about them specifically that you cannot stand? Is it their arrogance? Perhaps you have a deep-seated fear of being seen as arrogant yourself, so you play small and repress your own confidence. Their blatant arrogance triggers your own repressed desire to be seen and acknowledged. Or does their laziness drive you crazy? Perhaps you are a workaholic, driven by a belief that your worth comes from your productivity. Their ability to relax and do nothing is a profound threat to your entire worldview and a mirror to the part of you that is desperate for rest. Do you judge people who are emotional and dramatic? Perhaps you were taught to suppress your feelings and be strong, and their free expression of emotion is a mirror to your own locked-away grief or passion. The person you judge is your shadow-made flesh walking around in the world. They are not your enemy. They are your messenger. They are delivering a crucial piece of information about your own inner landscape. This is why certain people can trigger us so intensely. They are unconsciously touching on a raw, unhealed wound within us, an aspect of ourselves we have refused to look at. When you feel that intense charge of anger, irritation, or judgment towards someone, this is a sacred moment. It is an alarm bell from your soul, telling you to stop looking outward and to turn your attention inward. The untrained mind's reaction is to blame. He is so arrogant. She is so needy. They are so ignorant. We make the other person the problem. We gossip about them, we resent them, and in doing so we give away all of our power and learn absolutely nothing. We remain a victim of our own triggers. The path of power is to use this trigger as an opportunity for self-inquiry. The moment you feel the charge, you pause, you take a breath, and you ask the brave question, what is this person mirroring back to me? What part of my own shadow are they revealing? Where in my own life am I also like this, even in a small way? Or what is it about this trait that I so desperately fear in myself? This practice requires brutal honesty and deep compassion for yourself. It is not about making yourself wrong. It is about making yourself whole. By seeing the reflection in the mirror, you have the opportunity to reclaim a disowned part of yourself. To integrate your shadow is to become a more complete and powerful human being. When you can acknowledge your own capacity for arrogance, you can then choose to express a healthy confidence instead of repressing it. When you can embrace your own need for rest, you no longer need to be triggered by the laziness of others. When you allow yourself to feel your own emotions, the drama of others no longer seems so threatening. The person who once triggered you loses their power over you. You might still not choose to spend time with them, but the intense emotional charge is gone. It has been replaced by a quiet understanding and perhaps even a sense of gratitude. They have, unwittingly, helped you to become more free. From this perspective, the most difficult people in your life are transformed from adversaries into your most potent spiritual teachers. The critical boss, the manipulative family member, the unreliable friend, they are not sent to punish you. They are your personal gurus, perfectly designed by the universe to show you exactly where you are still attached, where you are still seeking approval, and where you are still not living in your own truth. The person who constantly criticizes you is a master teacher in the art of non-attachment to the opinions of others. They are giving you a daily opportunity to find your sense of worth inside yourself, where it cannot be touched by their words. The person who doesn't respect your boundaries is your master teacher in the art of self-love and firm, clear communication. They are forcing you to learn how to say no with grace and power. The person who betrays your trust is your master teacher in the art of forgiveness and resilience. They are showing you that your own inner peace does not have to be dependent on the actions of others. When you can truly see this, a profound shift happens. You stop being a victim of your relationships and become a conscious student of them. Instead of reacting with blame and resentment, you begin to respond with curiosity and gratitude. Internally, you can say, "Thank you for showing me that I still have a deep need to be right. This is a chance for me to practice letting go." Or, "Thank you for showing me this unhealed wound from my childhood. Now that I see it, I can begin to give it the love and attention it needs." This does not mean you condone harmful behavior. It does not mean you must stay in abusive situations. It simply means you extract the spiritual lesson before you make any decisions about the external circumstances. You take responsibility for your own inner state first. By doing so, any action you take will come from a place of clear, centered power, not from a place of wounded, emotional reactivity. This new understanding naturally leads to a more compassionate way of connecting with others. When you have faced your own shadow, you know that everyone else has a shadow too, When you understand that your own difficult behaviors often come from your own unhealed pain, you can see that the same is true for everyone else. This is the foundation of true compassion. You begin to understand that the person who is acting out in anger is likely carrying a heavy burden of fear or hurt. The person who is boastful and arrogant is probably compensating for a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. As the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. When you see this, it becomes much harder to take things personally. You see past the abrasive behavior to the wounded human being underneath. You move from judgment to curiosity, from anger to empathy. You start listening to understand, not just to formulate your reply. You realize that in every interaction, you have a choice. You can connect with the other person's ego, their defended and wounded self, which only leads to conflict and separation. Or you can try to connect with the deeper essence of who they are, the awareness behind the ego, which opens the door to understanding and genuine connection. This compassionate viewpoint does not make you a doormat. In fact, it is the foundation for setting the most effective and loving boundaries. Many people confuse boundaries with walls. Walls are built out of fear. They are rigid defensive structures designed to keep everyone out. They shout, "Go away," You might hurt me. Boundaries, on the other hand, are drawn from a place of love and self-respect. They are a clear, calm communication of what is and is not acceptable for you. A boundary does not try to control the other person's behavior. It simply states the consequences if a certain behavior continues. A wall is a reaction. A boundary is a conscious choice. For example, an angry, reactive wall might sound like, "You're always so negative. I can't stand it. Don't talk to me." A clear, loving boundary sounds like, "I love you and I value our conversations. But when the conversation turns to constant complaint, I find it drains my energy. If it continues, I'm going to have to lovingly end the conversation for today." Can you feel the difference? The first is an attack. The second is an act of self-care. It is clear, honest, and non-violent. It honors your own needs while still respecting the other person. Setting boundaries like this requires the inner strength we have been cultivating in all the previous chapters. It requires the stillness to pause before reacting, the acceptance of the other person's right to be who they are, and the non-attachment to them liking your boundary. It is an advanced practice of power, and it is essential for healthy, respectful relationships. Ultimately, every person you meet is a part of you. We are all expressions of one universal consciousness, experiencing itself from billions of different perspectives. The sense of separation we feel is the primary illusion of the ego. Every act of judgment you cast upon another is an act of judgment upon yourself. Every act of kindness you extend to another is an act of kindness to yourself. In every interaction, you are simply meeting yourself in a different disguise. When you can live from this awareness, the entire world transforms. Every conversation becomes an opportunity for connection. Every conflict becomes an opportunity for healing. Every person becomes your teacher, your student, and your brother or sister on this incredible journey. You stop trying to change people and instead focus on loving them as they are, which paradoxically creates the space for them to change on their own. You begin to walk through the world not as a fragile ego that needs to be defended, but as an open heart that is here to love and to learn. This is the true power of human connection. It is the power to see the one in the many, to find yourself in the eyes of another, and to turn the entire world into a living, breathing mirror of your own magnificent, evolving soul. Chapter 8. The Compass of the Soul, the Power of Purpose. We have journeyed through the great landscapes of the inner world. We have learned to sit in the quiet temple of stillness, to embrace the liberating power of acceptance, to witness the ceaseless chatter of our inner narrator without being consumed by it. We have reclaimed the sacred currency of our attention, learned the graceful dance of non-attachment, and polished the mirror of our relationships to see our own reflection more clearly. Having done this profound work of clearing the inner ground, a new and vital question naturally arises from the silence. It is a question that whispers in the quiet moments, a longing that beats in the heart of every human being. The question is, why am I here? And the longing is for a life of meaning, a life that feels like it counts for something. We are standing now at the threshold of discovering our soul's true north, the unique and sacred mission that we alone were born to fulfill. This is the power of purpose. To live a life of purpose is to align your every thought, feeling, and action with the deepest truth of your being. It is to transform your life from a series of random, striving actions into a single beautiful and coherent work of art. Let us begin by dismantling the heavy and intimidating myths that have been built around the concept of purpose. The ego, in its constant need for grandiosity and comparison, has turned the idea of purpose into a monumental burden for so many. We are often led to believe that purpose is some singular, epic destiny that we must spend our lives desperately searching for. We imagine it as a specific job title like doctor, artist, or humanitarian. And if we don't find this one perfect role, we feel we have failed. We believe purpose must be something grand, something that will change the world and earn us fame and recognition. We look at historical figures who led revolutions or made groundbreaking discoveries, and we think that is purpose. My small life could never compare. This entire framework is a prison. It is designed to keep you feeling inadequate and perpetually searching for something outside of yourself. It turns the joyful discovery of your unique essence into a stressful, anxiety-ridden scavenger hunt. The truth is far more simple, more accessible, and infinitely more beautiful. Your purpose is not a destination you must find. It is not a job title or a role you must acquire. Your purpose is a vibration. It is the unique frequency of your own soul. It is the song that only you can sing. You do not find your purpose, you uncover it. It is already within you, woven into the very fabric of your being, waiting patiently to be expressed. Your purpose is not something you do, but a way that you are. It is the quality of energy you bring to everything you do. The purpose of one person may be to bring fierce compassion to the world. They may express this as a nurse, a social worker, a mother, or simply as a kind stranger in the grocery store. The role is secondary. The vibration of compassion is the purpose. The purpose of another may be to bring joyful order and clarity. They might express this as an architect, a software engineer, an event planner, or someone who creates a beautiful, peaceful home for their family. The purpose is not the job, it is the energy of joyful order. Your purpose can be as quiet as cultivating a beautiful garden that brings peace to those who see it, or as loud as leading a movement that changes a nation. One is not greater than the other. The universe does not judge size. It only recognizes authenticity. Your most sacred duty is to find the unique note that your soul came here to play, and to play it with all your heart, in whatever context you find yourself. So, how do we tune into this frequency? How do we hear this song that is playing softly beneath the noise of our conditioned minds? We do not need to go on a vision quest to a distant mountain, though there is value in that. We can begin right here, in the midst of our ordinary lives, by learning to listen to the subtle compass of our soul. This compass has 3 primary needles that will always point you toward your true north. The needle of genuine joy and curiosity, the needle of sacred discontent, and the needle of your innate gifts. Let us first explore the most delightful of these guides, the needle of genuine joy and curiosity. Joy is the language of the soul. It is the direct signal from your deepest self that you are in alignment with your purpose. We are not talking about the fleeting, frantic pleasure that the ego seeks through consumption and external validation. We are talking about a deeper, more resonant joy, the kind of feeling that makes you lose track of time, the kind of feeling that expands your heart and makes you feel truly, authentically alive. Your soul is constantly leaving you a trail of breadcrumbs in the form of these joyful feelings. Your job is to learn how to notice them and to have the courage to follow them, even if you do not know where they lead. Take a moment to create a joy inventory. Get a piece of paper and write down everything, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, that has ever brought you a feeling of genuine, unforced joy. What did you love to do as a child before the world told you what you should be doing? Did you love to build things with blocks, to tell stories, to organize your toys, to climb trees, to care for stray animals? These childhood loves are pure, unfiltered clues to your soul's nature. Now think about your adult life. What activities make you feel expansive and energized? Is it getting lost in a complex spreadsheet? Is it the feeling of soil in your hands in the garden? Is it the process of cooking a meal for people you love? Is it deep philosophical conversations? Is it the thrill of solving a difficult problem? Is it helping a friend untangle their emotional knots? Be ruthlessly honest. Do not judge your answers. Do not filter them through the lens of what is practical or profitable. Just list what genuinely lights you up. This list is a treasure map. It contains the core components of your purpose. Following this joy is an act of faith. You might discover that you feel a deep joy when you are learning about ancient history. The mind will immediately jump in and say, "What are you going to do with that? You can't make a living from ancient history. That's just a silly hobby." This is the voice of fear, the voice of conditioning. Your task is to gently thank that voice for trying to keep you safe, and then to courageously take the next small step in the direction of your joy. You do not need to quit your job and enroll in a PhD program. Just take the next step. Go to the library and check out a book, watch a documentary, join an online forum, see where the trail leads. Maybe it remains a nourishing hobby that enriches your life, or maybe by following that thread of joy, you meet someone, or discover an idea, or stumble upon an opportunity that you could never have planned or predicted. Joy is not a distraction from your serious life. Joy is the path to your most serious, most authentic, and most powerful life. Your purpose is hidden in the things you would do for free, in the activities that make you feel that you are finally, fully yourself. Do not seek your purpose. Seek your joy, and your purpose will find you. The second needle of our soul's compass is more subtle and often misunderstood. It is the needle of sacred discontent. This is very different from the chronic egoic complaining that the inner narrator specializes in. Complaining is a victim's stance. It drains your energy and gives away your power. Sacred discontent, on the other hand, is a creative force. It is the voice of your soul looking at the world and saying, "This could be better. This is not right. There is a more beautiful, more just, more efficient, more compassionate way for this to be." This feeling of holy dissatisfaction is not a sign that you are a negative person. It is a sign that you are a creator, a problem solver, a healer. It is a sign that your purpose involves being an agent of positive change in some specific area. Look at your life and the world around you. What makes you righteously angry? What problem, big or small, keeps nagging at you? Is it the way animals are treated? Is it the inefficiency in your workplace? Is it the loneliness you see in the elderly? Is it the lack of beauty in your public spaces? Is it the way people communicate with each other? Do not push these feelings of frustration away. Do not numb them. Lean into them. Listen to them. Within your greatest frustration lies the seed of your greatest contribution. Many of the world's greatest innovations and movements were born from one person's sacred discontent. Someone was frustrated with the slowness of horse-drawn carriages, and it sparked the idea for the automobile. Someone was heartbroken by the suffering of the sick, and it fueled a lifetime of medical research. Someone was angered by social injustice, and it ignited a movement for civil rights. Your sacred discontent is a call to action. It is pointing you toward a problem that you are uniquely equipped to solve, or at least to contribute to solving. Perhaps your frustration with the confusing paperwork at your doctor's office is a sign that your purpose involves creating clearer, more user-friendly systems. Perhaps your sadness about the plastic in the oceans is a sign that your purpose involves advocating for environmental change, even if it's just in your own community. This discontent gives your life direction and weight. It transforms you from a passive observer of the world's problems into an active participant in its solutions. It is the fuel that will keep you going when the path gets difficult. Joy tells you what you love. Sacred discontent tells you what you are here to serve. When you can find the intersection of the two, when you can use what you love to solve a problem that breaks your heart, you have found the very heart of your purpose. The third and final needle on our compass is the needle of your innate gifts. These are the talents, skills, and qualities that come so naturally to you that you often don't even recognize them as gifts. They are the things you do with effortless grace, the things that other people seem to struggle with. Perhaps you are a natural listener, and people have always felt safe telling you their problems. Perhaps you have a gift for seeing the big picture and creating order out of chaos. Perhaps you have a knack for making people laugh and feel at ease. Perhaps you are incredibly patient, or deeply intuitive, or wonderfully practical. These are not accidents of personality. They are the tools your soul brought with it to carry out its purpose. Because these gifts come so easily to us, we tend to devalue them. We think, oh, anyone can do that. But this is not true. Your unique combination of gifts is a divine fingerprint, unlike any other in the universe. One of the most important steps in uncovering your purpose is to take a clear, appreciative inventory of these gifts. Ask your friends and family, what do you see as my greatest strengths? When have you seen me at my best? Their answers might surprise you. They see the light you cast that you yourself are often blind to. You must learn to own these gifts, to cherish them, and to see them as sacred trusts. Your gifts are not for you. They were given to you to be given away. A fruit tree does not grow apples for its own consumption. It grows them to be offered to the world. In the same way, your gift of listening is not for you. It is for the person who needs to be heard. Your gift for organization is not for you. It is for the project or the family that needs clarity. Your gift for humor is not for you. It is for the world that is so often in need of lightness. Your purpose is to be a steward of your gifts, to polish them, to develop them, and to offer them in joyful service to the world. Once you begin to get a sense of your purpose by listening to these three needles, the next step is to translate this inner knowing into outer action. This is where we must distinguish between ego-driven hustle and soul-guided, aligned action. The ego acts from a place of fear and lack. It hustles, it forces, it manipulates. It is always in a hurry, convinced that it has to make things happen through sheer force of will. This kind of action is exhausting, stressful, and often counterproductive. It is like trying to row a boat furiously against the current of the river. Aligned action, on the other hand, comes from a place of trust and inner guidance. It is calm, centered, and often feels effortless. It is the art of rowing with the current of the river. It is about listening in the stillness for the next most obvious step and taking it with your full presence and attention. Aligned action does not usually involve a giant, terrifying leap into the unknown. The soul most often speaks in whispers, not thunderclaps. It will not give you a 10-year plan. It will simply illuminate the very next step. If your purpose involves writing, the aligned action is not to quit your job and write a masterpiece in a month. The aligned action is to sit down today for 15 minutes and write one paragraph. If your purpose involves healing, the aligned action is not to immediately enroll in medical school. It might be to volunteer at a hospice for an hour a week, or to simply call a friend who is struggling. The power is in these small, consistent, and inspired steps. Each step taken in alignment builds a momentum of its own. It sends a signal to the universe that you are serious. And as you take one step, the next one will be revealed. You do not need to see the entire staircase. You only need to see the step in front of you and have the courage to take it. Of course, when you begin to walk the path of your purpose, you will encounter resistance. This resistance will come from the outside, but more importantly, it will come from the inside. Your inner narrator, your conditioned ego, will rise up in protest. It will scream at you with all its might, trying to pull you back to the safety and familiarity of your old life. It will say, "Who do you think you are? You're not good enough for this. You're going to fail, and everyone will laugh at you. You should be practical. You need to think about your security." These voices of fear are the guardians at the gate of your new life. They are not a sign that you are on the wrong path. They are a sign that you are on the right one. You are challenging your old limitations, and the ego is fighting for its survival. Here, you must use all the tools we have gathered. You must meet these fears with the stillness of your presence. You must accept their existence without believing their stories. You must detach from the voice of the critic and focus your attention on the quiet, steady voice of your soul. Living on purpose is the ultimate expression of the true power we have been exploring throughout this book. It is the culmination of all our inner work It takes stillness to hear the call of your purpose. It takes acceptance to embrace the path, with all its challenges. It takes taming the inner narrator to overcome the voices of fear and doubt. It takes conscious attention to stay focused on your true north. It takes non-attachment to be committed to the journey without being crippled by the need for a specific outcome. And it takes seeing the world as your mirror to understand that every person you meet is a part of your purposeful journey. Your purpose is your unique answer to the question of why you are here. It is not something to be achieved in the future. It is something to be lived in this very moment. You are living your purpose when you bring your full, authentic presence to whatever you are doing right now. Your purpose is not in the what, but in the how. How you listen to your partner is your purpose. How you complete your work project is your purpose. How you walk through the grocery store is your purpose. It is the act of infusing every moment with the unique quality of your soul. This is the path to a life of profound fulfillment, a life where you feel you are an essential and beloved part of the great cosmic orchestra. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You are a divine idea, a unique and unrepeatable expression of life itself. Your job is not to become something you are not. It is simply to remember, to uncover, and to fully become the magnificent being you already are. Listen to the compass of your soul. It is pointing you home. Chapter 9. Leaping into the void, the power of faith and embracing the unknown. We have journeyed to the very core of our being, discovering the compass of the soul, our sacred purpose. We have learned to listen for its quiet guidance, to feel its pull toward a life of meaning and authenticity. But as we stand at this precipice, ready to take the first steps on our true path, we are confronted by the greatest and most primal of all human fears, the fear of the unknown. The path of purpose does not come with a detailed, laminated map. It does not offer guarantees of safety, security, or success. It asks us to step off the well-trodden road of the predictable and to venture into the wild, untamed wilderness of our own potential. It asks us to walk toward a horizon we cannot see. The conditioned mind, the ego, recoils from this in terror. The ego thrives on control, on certainty, on knowing what comes next. The unknown is its mortal enemy. It sees the unknown not as a space of infinite possibility, but as a dark and terrifying void, filled with monsters of failure, rejection, and ruin. This fear is the final gatekeeper, the ultimate test. And the only key that can unlock this gate is the power of faith. When we speak of faith in this context, we are not speaking of blind belief in a religious doctrine or an external bearded deity who will magically solve our problems if we pray hard enough. The faith we are cultivating here is something far more intimate, more powerful, and more real. It is a deep, embodied trust in the fundamental intelligence and goodness of life itself. It is a radical confidence in your own inner wisdom and resilience. It is the profound and peaceful knowing that even when you cannot see the path, you are always held, always guided, and always walking toward your highest good. This kind of faith is not a passive waiting. It is an active, courageous, and dynamic state of being. It is the spiritual muscle that allows you to surrender, to trust, and to leap, knowing that the net will appear. It is the ultimate antidote to the paralysis of fear and the essential fuel for a life of purpose, adventure, and grace. To understand the power of faith, we must first understand the tyranny of its opposite, the desperate need for control. The ego's primary strategy for survival is to try to control everything. It wants to control outcomes. It wants to control other people's perceptions. It wants to control the future. It creates meticulous 5-year plans, endless to-do lists, and rigid expectations for how life should unfold. This desperate quest for control is the source of all our anxiety, stress, and disappointment. It it is a fool's errand, because the fundamental nature of life is that it is uncontrollable, unpredictable, and constantly changing. To try to control life is like trying to command the tides or negotiate with a hurricane. It is a colossal waste of our precious life force. We live in a state of constant tension, trying to manage a universe that is infinitely more complex and intelligent than our tiny minds can possibly comprehend. We are like a nervous passenger on an airplane, gripping the armrests with white knuckles, believing that our personal effort is what is keeping the plane in the air. The pilot, the laws of aerodynamics, the entire system is functioning perfectly, but we are too terrified to relax and enjoy the ride. Faith is the conscious act of letting go of the armrests. It is the deep, cellular relaxation into the truth that you are not in control, and that this is a wonderful, liberating thing. It is the realization that there is a vast intelligence at work in the universe, the same intelligence that turns an acorn into a mighty oak tree, that guides the planets in their orbits, and that beats your heart 60 times a minute without any conscious effort from you. This same intelligence is guiding your life. Faith is the choice to trust this intelligence. It is the willingness to align yourself with its flow, rather than fighting against it. It is the understanding that the void that the ego fears so much is not an empty, dead space. It is the womb of all creation. It is the field of infinite potentiality. It is the blank canvas upon which a masterpiece can be painted, the silent pause between the notes that gives the music its beauty. The ego fears emptiness, but the soul knows that it is only in the space of the unknown that something new, something truly miraculous, can be born. So how do we cultivate this radical, life-altering faith? It is not something you can simply decide to have. It is a muscle that must be built, a practice that must be embodied. The first and most crucial practice in the cultivation of faith is the art of surrendering the how. Our minds are obsessed with the how. Once we get a glimpse of our purpose or set an intention, the mind immediately jumps in and demands a step-by-step plan. How am I going to make money doing this? How will I get the right training? How will I find the time? How will I convince my family? This frantic need to know the entire path from start to finish is a manifestation of fear. It is the ego's demand for a guarantee before it is willing to take even a single step. This demand will keep you stuck forever, because the path of the soul is never revealed all at once. The practice of faith is to become exquisitely clear on your what and your why, and to completely and utterly surrender the how to the wisdom of the universe. Your what is your vision, your intention, the destination you have set on your soul's compass. Your why is the deep, heartfelt purpose that fuels your journey. Your job is to hold this what and why in your heart with clarity and passion. The how is not your business. The how is the universe's domain. Your attachment to a specific how is the very thing that will blind you to the unexpected, magical, and far more elegant solutions that the universe has in store for you. You might think the only way to become a healer is to go to medical school, a long and arduous how. But if you release your attachment to that one path and simply hold the intention of being a vessel for healing, the universe might bring you a different modality, a teacher you never expected, or an opportunity to heal with your words or your presence in a way you could never have planned. To surrender the how is to say to life, I trust you. I am open to your wisdom. Surprise me. This prayer of openness is one of the most powerful you can ever utter. The second practice for building the muscle of faith is to consciously look for evidence of support. The fearful ego is constantly scanning your reality for evidence that you are alone, that life is hard, and that things are going wrong. It has a powerful confirmation bias for negativity. Faith is the practice of consciously overriding this bias. It is the deliberate act of scanning your reality for evidence that you are supported, that life is on your side, and that things are working out for your good. This is the practice of recognizing synchronicity. Synchronicity is when the universe winks at you. It is the seemingly coincidental event that is so meaningful and timely that it feels like it must have been orchestrated. It is thinking of an old friend, and then they call you a minute later. It is having a problem, and then the solution appears in a book you randomly open or a conversation you overhear. It is finding the perfect resource just when you need it most. These are not random accidents. These are the footprints of the invisible intelligence that is guiding your life. The problem is that most people are so lost in the noise of their own minds that they do not notice these small miracles. They dismiss them as coincidence. To build faith, you must become a collector of these moments. Start a synchronicity journal. Every day, write down any small piece of evidence you witnessed that showed you were being supported. Did you hit every green light on your way to an important meeting? Did you find a $20 bill on the street just when you were worried about money? Did a song come on the radio with the exact message you needed to hear? By paying attention to these events, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are listening. And what you pay attention to expands. The more you look for evidence of support, the more evidence you will find. Your reality will begin to feel less like a random, chaotic battlefield and more like a magical, responsive dance. This practice retrains your brain to see the world not as a hostile place, but as a friendly and co-creative partner in your journey. The third and most active practice of faith is to take the next inspired step. Faith is not a passive state of waiting for Godot. It is an active engagement with life. However, the action it calls for is different from the ego's frantic striving. It is the practice of listening in the stillness for the one clear, intuitive nudge to take a specific action, and then taking that action without needing to know where it will lead. This inspired next step is often small, simple, and may even seem illogical to the rational mind. It is the sudden urge to call a specific person, to drive down a different street, to sign up for a class, to read a particular book. An inspired action feels different in the body than a fear-based action. Fear-based action feels tense, contracted, and heavy. It comes with a feeling of I should or I have to. Inspired action feels light, expansive, and energizing. It comes with a feeling of curiosity, of I wonder what will happen if I, or simply a calm sense of this is the next thing to do. To live by faith is to orient your life around taking these inspired steps. You wake up in the morning, and instead of consulting your overwhelming to-do list, you sit in stillness and ask your inner wisdom, what is the one thing it would serve me to do today? You listen. You trust the answer that arises. And you do that one thing with your full presence. This is how you walk the path of purpose. Not by trying to figure it all out, but by becoming a master of taking the next single step. The universe rewards action, but it rewards inspired, aligned action most of all. By taking these small steps of faith, you are demonstrating your trust in the flow, and the flow will begin to carry you faster and more gracefully than you could ever have imagined. You build the bridge of faith by walking across it. Of course, the path of faith is not always smooth. There will be times when things do not go as you planned, when your expectations are not met, when a door you thought was open slams shut in your face. These are the moments that test your faith to its core. The ego will immediately scream, "See, I told you so, it's not working. You're a fool for trusting. Let's go back to what's safe and predictable." This is a critical juncture. Here, faith asks you to practice a radical reframing. It asks you to see every failure as feedback, every rejection as redirection, and every obstacle as a divinely orchestrated detour. When a door slams shut, it is not a punishment. It is the universe lovingly protecting you from a path that was not for your highest good. When a project fails, it is not a sign of your inadequacy. It is a lesson delivering crucial information you will need for your next, more successful venture. When a plan falls apart, it is because life has an even better, more magnificent plan in store for you, a plan you could not have conceived of with your limited mind. Faith is the ability to hold the perspective that everything, absolutely everything, is happening for you, not to you. It is the trust that even in the midst of confusion, pain, and disappointment, you are being guided, you are learning, and you are growing. This is not easy. It requires a profound letting go of your ego's need to be in control and to have things a certain way. But it is the key to unshakable peace. When you can truly embrace this perspective, nothing can break you. You become like a master sailor who does not curse the wind when it changes direction, but skillfully adjusts their sails to harness its power to continue their journey. Finally, the deepest expression of faith is to learn to trust yourself. You are a manifestation of the same universal intelligence that you are placing your faith in. That wisdom is not just outside of you, it is inside of you. You have an inner guidance system, your intuition, that is always speaking to you, always guiding you toward your true north. You have a deep well of resilience and creativity within you that is more than capable of handling any challenge that life presents. To have faith is to trust that you will know what to do when the time comes. You do not need all the answers now. You just need to trust that you will have the answer you need in the moment you need it. This self-trust is the bedrock upon which all other faith is built. You can face the unknown with courage, not because you know what will happen, but because you know that whatever happens, you can handle it. To live a life of faith is to embark on the greatest adventure of all. It is to become a dancer with the mystery, a co-creator with the cosmos. It is to trade the cramped, anxious prison of the predictable for the wide-open, breathtaking vista of the possible. It is to walk through the world with an open heart, a curious mind, and a peaceful soul, knowing that you are eternally safe and infinitely loved. This is the ultimate power. It is the power to release your grip, to surrender to a wisdom far greater than your own, and to allow your life to become a testament to the magic that unfolds when you have the courage to leap into the beautiful, creative void of the unknown. The end of our journey together in this book is approaching. To continue exploring the depths of your inner power and receive guidance on living a life of purpose, peace, and fearless grace, ensure you are subscribed for the final chapter and future wisdom from What Monks Never Told You About True Power. The greatest secrets are often revealed at the end of the path. Chapter 10. The Body as a Sacred Instrument. The Power of Embodiment. We have traversed the vast and subtle landscapes of the mind and spirit. We have stood in the silent fields of stillness and waded in the healing waters of acceptance. We have journeyed inward to witness the chattering inner narrator, to reclaim the potent currency of our attention, to learn the graceful dance of non-attachment, and to see our own souls reflected in the mirror of our relationships. We have followed the golden thread of purpose to the edge of the great unknown and found the courage to leap through the power of faith. Throughout this profound exploration, our focus has been primarily on the invisible realms of consciousness, thought, and energy. But now, we must bring this journey home. We must bring it down from the ethereal heights of the mind and ground it firmly in the soil of our physical existence. For what is the use of a liberated mind if it is trapped in a body that is ignored, resented, and treated as a mere beast of burden? The final and most crucial step in integrating true power is to recognize that our body is not a machine, not an obstacle, and not an object of shame or vanity. Your body is a living, breathing, miraculously intelligent organism. It is your sacred instrument, your wise counselor, your earthly anchor, and the only home you will ever know in this lifetime. To learn the power of embodiment is to finally, fully arrive in your own life. It is to stop living as a ghost in your own machine and to inhabit your flesh with the full, radiant presence of your soul. We live in a culture that has committed a great and tragic crime against the body. We have been taught, through centuries of philosophical and religious conditioning, to be profoundly suspicious of our flesh. We have been told that the mind is the seat of reason and light, while the body is the source of temptation, decay, and darkness. This has created a deep and painful split within us. We have become disembodied, living our lives almost entirely from the neck up, as talking heads carting around a foreign object that we must constantly discipline, manage, and fix. We treat our bodies like cars, taking them for granted when they are running well, and cursing them when they break down. We relate to them primarily through the judgmental lens of the ego. We look in the mirror and see not a miracle of life, but a collection of flaws to be corrected. The nose is too big. The stomach is too soft. The wrinkles are too deep. We push our bodies past their limits for the sake of productivity, ignoring their cries for rest. We numb their subtle signals with caffeine, sugar, and endless distraction. We have forgotten how to listen to the body's native language, the language of sensation, and instead, we wait for it to scream at us in the form of pain, illness, and exhaustion. This profound disconnection is the source of a vast amount of human suffering. When you are not grounded in your body, you are unmoored, like a kite without a string, tossed about by the chaotic winds of thought and emotion. You are susceptible to anxiety because you have no anchor in the solid reality of the present moment. You are prone to depression because you are cut off from the simple, creaturely joy of being alive. You make poor decisions because you are deaf to the clear, instantaneous wisdom of your own intuition, which speaks directly through your physical form. The journey back to the body is therefore not a secondary, optional part of the spiritual path. It is the very foundation upon which a stable and integrated spiritual life is built. You cannot be truly powerful until you are fully present, and you cannot be fully present until you are fully embodied. The great secret the monks never told you in words but expressed in their every grounded step and centered breath is that enlightenment is not about escaping the body, but about inhabiting it so completely that it becomes luminous with the light of your own consciousness. The first step in this homecoming is to begin relating to your body not as an it, but as a you. To see it not as a thing you possess, but as a conscious, intelligent partner in your life's journey. Your body possesses a wisdom that is far older and deeper than your rational mind. Your rational mind is a relatively new evolutionary development, a tool that is brilliant at analyzing, planning, and creating concepts. But your body is the product of billions of years of life's intelligence. It knows how to heal a cut, how to digest food, how to fight off an infection, how to create another human being, all without any conscious instruction from you. It is a living library of ancestral knowledge and instinctual wisdom. This wisdom communicates with you constantly, not in words, but in the subtle and undeniable language of sensation. We have all experienced this. We call it a gut feeling, a gut instinct, or having butterflies in the stomach. We say our skin crawled, or that a certain person gives us a bad vibe. These are not mere figures of speech. They are literal descriptions of the body's intuitive intelligence at work. Your enteric nervous system, the second brain in your gut, and your entire sensory apparatus are constantly processing vast amounts of information from your environment, information that your conscious mind is completely unaware of. It can sense incongruity, danger, or trustworthiness long before your brain can logically articulate why. To learn to trust this somatic intelligence is a radical act of power. It means valuing the information you receive through your felt sense as much as, or even more than, the conclusions of your analytical mind. The mind can be easily fooled. It can be swayed by clever arguments, by its own biases, and by wishful thinking. The body, however, does not lie. Its responses are honest and instantaneous. Think about a time you had to make a big decision. You probably made a list of pros and cons, agonizing over the logical choice. But what did your body tell you? When you considered one option, did your shoulders tense up and your stomach clench? Did you feel a sense of contraction and dread? That was your body screaming, "No!" When you considered the other option, did your chest open up? Did you feel a sense of lightness, expansion, and excitement, even if it seemed like the less logical choice? That was your body giving you a full-throated yes. We so often override this clear, visceral guidance in favor of what we think we should do, and we almost always live to regret it. The practice of cultivating this connection is simple. It begins with the intention to listen. Throughout your day, create small moments of somatic check-in. Before you answer an email, before you make a phone call, before you agree to a request, pause. Close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath and bring your awareness into your body. Ask a simple question: how does my body feel about this? And then listen. Do not look for an answer in words. Look for a sensation. Is there a feeling of openness or closeness, expansion or contraction, warmth or coldness, ease or tension? You are not asking your body to make the decision for you. You are inviting its wisdom to be part of the conversation. You are building a relationship of trust and respect with your oldest and most loyal companion. The more you practice this, the clearer the signals will become. You will start to navigate your life not just by the flickering lamp of your intellect, but by the steady, unwavering compass of your embodied truth. Your life will begin to flow with a new sense of ease and rightness, because you will be making choices that are in alignment with your whole being, not just a small fraction of it. Once we begin to listen to the body's wisdom, we must also learn to understand its emotional language. Emotions are not abstract concepts that happen in your head. They are physiological events. They are pure energy moving through your body. The word emotion itself comes from the Latin emovere, which means to move out or to move through. Emotions are meant to be felt and to move through us, releasing their energy and delivering their information. The great tragedy is that we are taught from a very young age to suppress this natural flow. We are told, don't cry, don't be angry, be a big boy. Nice girls don't show their temper. We learn that certain feelings are bad or negative, and so we do everything in our power to avoid feeling them. We clench our jaw to hold back anger. We hold our breath to suppress fear. We tighten our stomachs to numb our grief. In doing this, we trap the emotional energy in our bodies. This trapped energy does not simply disappear. It becomes lodged in our tissues, creating chronic muscular tension, postural imbalances, and, over time, can contribute to physical illness. The chronic back pain, the tension headaches, the irritable bowel syndrome. These are so often the long-term physical manifestations of unfelt, unexpressed emotion. The path to healing and embodiment requires us to reverse this lifelong habit of suppression. It requires the courage to feel. This is where the power of acceptance we explored earlier becomes a fully embodied practice. When a difficult emotion arises, instead of immediately distracting yourself or trying to reason it away, you perform a radical act of self-love. You pause. You bring your attention out of the story in your head. He shouldn't have said that to me, I'm so angry, and directly into the raw sensations of the emotion in your body. Where do you feel the anger? Perhaps it is a fiery heat in your chest, a tightness in your fists, a surge of energy up your spine. Your task is not to judge it or even to understand it. Your task is simply to be with it, to breathe into it, to create a space of loving, non-judgmental awareness around the physical sensations. Imagine you are a compassionate scientist observing a fascinating weather pattern inside your own body. You are not the storm. You are the vast, open sky in which the storm is happening. When you can meet your emotions in this way, On the level of pure physical sensation, something miraculous happens. The energy that was trapped begins to move. The tightness begins to soften. The heat begins to dissipate. By allowing the emotion to be fully felt without resistance, you allow it to complete its natural life cycle. It rises, it peaks, and it passes, leaving you clearer and more peaceful in its wake. This is the alchemy of embodiment. You are literally turning the lead of your trapped emotional pain into the gold of flowing life force. This practice, repeated over time, will begin to unwind the chronic tension you have been carrying for years. Your posture will change. Your breathing will deepen. You will feel a new sense of lightness and fluidity in your body because you are no longer using a vast amount of your life force to hold down your own feelings. You become a safe container for all of life's energies to flow through you. This does not mean you will become an emotional wreck, acting out on every feeling. On the contrary, when you allow yourself to feel your emotions fully on the inside, you are far less likely to be controlled by them on the outside. You can feel intense anger without lashing out. You can feel deep sadness without collapsing into despair. You have the inner spaciousness to feel everything, and therefore you are a slave to nothing. The most direct and powerful tool we have for this process of embodiment is the breath. Your breath is the ultimate bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between the mind and the body, between the spiritual and the physical. It is the one autonomic function that you can also consciously control. In this, it holds a profound secret. To control your breath is to gain access to the control panel of your own nervous system. Most of the time, we breathe unconsciously, with shallow, constricted breaths high up in the chest. This type of breathing keeps us in a low-grade state of fight or flight. It signals to our nervous system that we are under threat, which keeps our muscles tense, our heart rate elevated, and our mind anxious. The simple act of shifting to deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing is one of the most powerful spiritual practices available to us. Let's explore this as a direct experience. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Now take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and consciously direct the breath down into your belly. Feel your belly expand and push your hand outward. The hand on your chest should remain relatively still. Then, exhale slowly, either through your nose or your mouth, allowing your belly to gently fall. Take several breaths like this. What do you notice? You will feel an almost immediate shift in your entire state of being. Your heart rate slows down. Your muscles begin to relax. Your mind becomes calmer and clearer. You have just consciously activated your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. You have sent a powerful signal from your body to your brain that says, "I am safe. All is well." You can do this practice anywhere, anytime. In a traffic jam, before a difficult conversation, when you feel overwhelmed. This is not just a relaxation technique. It is an act of reclaiming your sovereignty. You are refusing to let external circumstances dictate your inner state. You're using your own breath to anchor yourself in a state of calm, centered power. Beyond simply calming the nervous system, conscious breathing is the primary way we fill our bodies with life force, with what the yogis call prana and the Chinese call qi. Each breath is an opportunity to consciously draw in not just oxygen, but vitality, presence, and healing energy. You can practice this by visualizing the air you breathe as a luminous, golden light. As you inhale, imagine this light filling your entire body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, nourishing every cell, clearing out any stagnant or heavy energy. As you exhale, imagine you are releasing everything that no longer serves you: tension, worry, fatigue. By bringing this conscious intention to your breathing, you transform a simple biological process into a profound practice of purification and renewal. You are learning to use your breath to actively manage your own energy field, to cleanse your inner house, and to fill yourself with the very essence of life. This new relationship with your body also transforms your approach to movement. For many, exercise is a form of punishment. It is something we do to fight our bodies, to force them into a shape that the ego deems acceptable. We hit the gym and feel the burn, treating our bodies like adversaries to be conquered. The embodied approach to movement is entirely different. It sees movement as a celebration of the body, as a form of moving prayer, as a way to explore and express the joy of being alive. The focus shifts from the external goal, burning calories, building muscle, to the internal experience. The primary question is no longer, how do I look, but how does this feel? This can be practiced through formal disciplines like yoga, qigong, or tai chi, which are explicitly designed to cultivate the connection between breath, movement, and awareness. But it does not require a formal practice. You can transform the simple act of walking into a profound meditation. As you walk, bring your full attention to the physical sensations of it. Feel the soles of your feet making contact with the ground. Feel the subtle shifts in balance as your weight transfers from one foot to the other. Feel the gentle swing of your arms, the air on your skin, the rhythm of your own breath. You are not walking to get somewhere. The walking itself is the destination. You are simply inhabiting your body in motion, fully present to the miracle of it. You can do the same with stretching. Instead of forcing your body into a position, gently explore your edges. Breathe into the areas of tightness and resistance, not with force, but with a gentle, loving invitation to release. You can even put on music and just allow your body to move, without any plan or choreography. Let your body express itself freely, shaking off tension, swaying with joy, moving in whatever way feels authentic and liberating. When you move in this conscious, loving way, you are not just exercising your muscles, you are lubricating your soul. You are reminding yourself that you are not a rigid, static thing, but a fluid, dynamic, and expressive being. Finally, the power of embodiment extends to the most fundamental acts of our daily existence: eating and resting. We have turned eating into a mindless act of refueling, often done while distracted, standing up, or on the run. We have turned rest into a guilty indulgence, a sign of weakness in a culture that worships productivity. An embodied life reclaims these as sacred practices. Mindful eating is a profound act of honoring your body and the earth that nourishes it. Before you eat, take a moment to look at your food. See its colors, its textures. Take a moment to feel gratitude for all the hands that brought it to your plate, from the farmer to the grocer to the cook. As you eat, chew slowly. Put your fork down between bites. Try to taste every flavor. Notice the sensations in your mouth and your stomach. By eating in this way, you not only enjoy your food more, but you also listen to your body's signals of hunger and fullness with much greater clarity. You stop eating out of boredom or emotional habit and start eating to truly nourish your sacred instrument. In the same way, rest is not laziness. It is an essential and holy act of integration. It is in the spaces of deep rest and sleep that your body heals, your mind processes experience, and your soul receives its deepest guidance. To honor your need for rest is an act of profound self-respect. It is to acknowledge that you are a human being, not a machine. It is to trust in the cyclical rhythms of nature, which include periods of activity and periods of profound stillness. Creating a sanctuary for sleep, turning off screens before bed, and allowing yourself to truly let go of the day are not luxuries. They are non-negotiable spiritual practices for anyone who wishes to live a powerful and sustainable life. The journey home to your body is perhaps the most important journey you will ever take. It is the journey from fragmentation to wholeness, from self-judgment to self-love, from living in your head to living in your life. Your body is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be explored, a temple to be honored, and a wise and faithful friend who has been waiting patiently for you to return. As you learn to listen to its wisdom, to feel its emotions, to breathe with its rhythms, and to move with its joy, you will unlock a dimension of power, peace, and aliveness that you may have never thought possible. You will no longer be a soul trapped in a body, but a soul fully, gloriously, and powerfully expressed through a body. And this, in the end, is what it means to be truly, divinely human. Chapter 11. The Alchemy of Everyday Life. The Power of Presence in Action. We have arrived at the final chamber of our inner exploration, the place where all the paths we have walked converge. We have sat in the deep silence of stillness, learned the warrior's courage of acceptance, and uncovered the radiant power of our own attention. We have danced with non-attachment, peered into the mirror of our relationships, followed the compass of our purpose, and leapt into the creative void with faith. We have come home to the sacred intelligence of our own bodies. We have gathered all the keys to the kingdom. But a key is useless if it is kept on a shelf and only admired. The ultimate purpose of a key is to be used, to unlock a door, and to walk through it into a new reality. And so, this final chapter is about taking all these keys off the shelf and learning to use them in the lock of every single moment of our ordinary, everyday lives. This is the great alchemy. It is the secret art of turning the lead of your mundane existence into the shimmering gold of a spiritual life. The great secret that the monks protect is not found in a hidden scripture or a secret chant. It is this: there is no separation. There is no distinction between the sacred and the secular, the spiritual and the mundane. Your life, exactly as it is right now, is your monastery. Your kitchen sink is your altar. Your difficult commute is your pilgrimage. Your annoying colleague is your guru. The ultimate test of power is not whether you can levitate or read minds. It is whether you can wash the dishes with the full, loving presence of an awakened heart. It is whether you can be a beacon of peace in the middle of a traffic jam. It is whether you can bring the totality of your being to the here and now, and discover that the kingdom of heaven was never in the sky, but was always and only right here. For most of us, the spiritual life is something we compartmentalize. It is something we do for 10 minutes in the morning on our meditation cushion, or for an hour on Sunday at church, or for a weekend once a year on a retreat. We have our spiritual life, and then we have our real life, which is filled with work, chores, errands, stress, and conflict. We believe that we must endure the real life in order to earn a few precious moments of the spiritual life. We see our daily obligations as interruptions to our peace, as obstacles on our path. This belief is the single greatest barrier to our freedom. It condemns us to a life of perpetual waiting, forever postponing our peace until the conditions are just right, until the kids are grown, until we retire, until we finally have time. But the conditions will never be just right. Life will always be messy, unpredictable, and full of demands. The alchemical secret is to stop seeing your life as an obstacle to your practice and to start seeing your life as the practice. Every single moment, without exception, is a fresh opportunity to wake up. Every task, no matter how humble, is a sacred vessel waiting to be filled with your presence. Let us begin with the most common and often most dreaded aspect of daily life: chores. The washing of dishes, the folding of laundry, the sweeping of floors, the taking out of the trash. We see these tasks as drudgery, as time-consuming burdens that stand between us and what we would rather be doing. We rush through them with a mind that is a million miles away, already planning the next thing, complaining about the present thing. But what if you were to transform your relationship to these simple tasks? What if, for just one of these chores, you decided to make it your sole spiritual practice for that moment? Let's take the humble act of washing a dish. As you approach the sink, take one conscious breath, using it to arrive fully in your body, as we practiced in the last chapter. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the presence of your own being. As you turn on the water, listen to the sound it makes. Feel its temperature on your hands. Pick up the first dish. Don't just see it as a dirty dish. See it for what it is. Look at its shape, its color, feel its weight in your hands. As you apply the soap and the sponge, feel the textures. See the bubbles form, shimmering with iridescent light. Hear the squeak of the sponge against the ceramic. Your entire attention, your most precious currency, is invested in this simple sensory experience. You are not thinking about the email you have to send. You are not replaying an argument from yesterday. You are here. You are washing this dish. In this moment, washing this dish is the most important thing in the universe because it is the only thing that is happening. When you can bring this quality of loving, non-judgmental attention to a simple task, two things happen. First, the task itself is transformed from a burden into a moment of profound peace. You are practicing stillness. You are practicing single-pointed focus. You are practicing embodiment. You are, in essence, meditating with your eyes open. The boundary between chore and practice dissolves. Second, and more importantly, you are retraining your mind. You are teaching it, through direct experience, that peace is not dependent on what you are doing, but on the quality of presence you bring to the doing. If you can find peace while washing a dish, you can find peace anywhere. You can apply this same principle to folding laundry, feeling the texture and warmth of the fabric. You can apply it to sweeping the floor, attuned to the rhythm and the sound. The great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Wash the dishes to wash the dishes," meaning be fully present with the act itself, not rushing to get to the next thing. This is the alchemy. You are not changing what you do. You are changing how you are. And in changing how you are, you change everything. Now, let's bring this alchemy into the arena where we spend the majority of our waking hours, our work. For so many, work is the primary source of stress, frustration, and a feeling of being disconnected from one's soul. We may feel our job is meaningless, that we are just a cog in a machine, that we are trading our life force for a paycheck. We dream of the day we can quit and finally do our real work, our true purpose. This is a painful and disempowered state to live in. The power of presence offers a radically different approach. While it is always good to strive to align your work with your purpose, you do not have to wait for a new job to start living a life of meaning. You can begin this very day by transforming your current job into a field of spiritual practice. The first step is to infuse your work with the power of intention. Before you begin your workday, take a few moments to set a clear intention. This intention is not about a specific outcome like, "I will close 3 sales today." It is about the quality of being you wish to embody. Your intention might be, "Today, I will bring a spirit of calm and focus to all my tasks." Or, "Today, I will practice deep listening with every person I interact with." Or, "Today, my work will be an expression of my desire to be of service." This intention becomes your inner rudder, guiding you back to your chosen state of being whenever you get pulled off course by stress or distraction. With this intention in place, you can then approach each task of your job as an opportunity to practice. That boring report you have to write, it is a chance to practice single-pointed attention, to bring your full focus to the task without succumbing to the temptation of distraction. That difficult client on the phone, they are not an annoyance. They are a master teacher in patience and compassion. They are an opportunity to practice non-reactivity, to listen beyond their angry words to the fear or frustration underneath, as we explored in the chapter on relationships. That team meeting that seems to be going nowhere. It is a chance to practice non-attachment to outcomes, to speak your truth clearly, and then let go of the need to control the group's decision. You begin to see your workplace not as a battlefield, but as a gymnasium for your soul, filled with equipment perfectly designed to strengthen your spiritual muscles. You stop focusing on what you can get from your job, money, status, and start focusing on what you can give to it: presence, integrity, kindness. This shift changes everything. It can transform even the most soul-crushing job into a source of profound fulfillment. Because your fulfillment is no longer coming from the external rewards, but from the inner satisfaction of living in alignment with your deepest values, moment by moment. This alchemical approach extends to how we interact with the material world, particularly through the acts of eating and consuming. As we touched on in the previous chapter, mindful eating is a powerful practice, but we can take it even further. Every meal can become a deep meditation on our interconnectedness with all of life. As you look at the food on your plate, you can practice gratitude for the sun, the rain, and the earth that grew it. You can acknowledge the plants and animals who gave their lives for your nourishment. You can think of the farmers, the truck drivers, the grocery store workers, all the beings in the vast, invisible web of connection that brought this meal to you. To eat with this awareness is to be humbled and filled with awe. It is to recognize that you are not a separate entity, but a part of a vast and generous living system. Similarly, we can transform our relationship with money and consumption. In a consumer culture, we are encouraged to be mindless shoppers, constantly seeking happiness through the next purchase. The path of presence invites us to become conscious consumers. Before you buy something, pause. Ask yourself, do I truly need this? Or am I trying to fill an emotional void? Ask, was this product made in a way that respects the earth and other human beings? Ask, will this purchase bring lasting value and joy to my life? Or is it just a fleeting fix? Every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. To use your money consciously is to align your economic power with your spiritual values. It is a potent and practical way to bring your inner peace into outer action. One of the most powerful and often overlooked areas for practice is in the transitions of our day. Our lives are not just a series of big events. They are filled with in-between moments. The drive to work, the walk from the parking lot to the office, the time spent waiting in line, the moment before you answer the phone. For most of us, these moments are a black hole. We fill them with mindless distraction, checking our phones, getting lost in anxious thoughts. But these transitional moments are golden opportunities. They are natural pauses in the day, invitations to come back to center. You can use your commute, instead of listening to angry talk radio, to listen to calming music, or simply to enjoy the silence, practicing being present in your body. When you're waiting in line, instead of impatiently tapping your foot, you can use that time to do a few deep, centering breaths. When you park your car at home after work, instead of rushing into the house, you can take just 60 seconds to sit in silence, consciously letting go of the stress of the day and setting an intention to be present with your family. By consciously using these small, transitional moments to reset and reconnect with yourself, you prevent the stress of one part of your day from bleeding into the next. You weave a thread of presence throughout your entire day, creating a life that feels less fragmented and more whole. Of course, the ultimate testing ground for this alchemy of presence is when things go wrong. Life will inevitably present you with challenges. A conflict with a loved one, a sudden illness, a financial setback, a global crisis. It is in these moments that our practice moves from the theoretical to the intensely real. The untrained mind reacts to these events with fear, anger, and blame. It resists reality, creates a story of victimhood, and plunges itself into suffering. The alchemical path is to learn to use these very moments of difficulty as your most powerful spiritual accelerators. When you are faced with a challenging situation, you have been given a sacred invitation to put everything you have learned into practice. Let's walk through a scenario. You get into a heated argument with your partner. They say something that deeply hurts you. The old reactive pattern would be to lash out, to defend yourself, to blame them, escalating the conflict and creating a deeper rift. The alchemical response looks like this. First, stillness. Before you speak, you take one conscious breath. You create a sacred pause, a space between the stimulus and your response. Second, Embodiment. You bring your attention into your body. You notice the flush of heat, the clenched jaw, the knot in your stomach. You acknowledge the raw energy of hurt and anger without needing to act on it immediately. Third, acceptance. You radically accept the reality of the moment. This is happening. I'm feeling hurt. My partner has said these words. You stop fighting the reality of it. Fourth, taming the narrator. You witness the story your mind is creating. They always do this. They don't respect me. This is a disaster. You see these thoughts as clouds passing, not as absolute truth. You do not let the inner critic or the storyteller hijack the situation. Fifth, the mirror. You ask the brave, inward-looking question. What unhealed part of me is being triggered right now? Is this feeling of not being respected an old wound? What is this situation showing me about myself? Sixth, non-attachment and faith. You let go of your desperate need to win the argument or to be proven right. You have faith that even this painful moment is somehow serving your growth. From this place of deep, inner presence, any action you now take will be infinitely wiser and more compassionate. You might choose to say, "When you said that, I felt deeply hurt. Can we talk about this later, when we are both calmer?" Or you might simply choose to be silent and hold yourself with love. You have turned a moment of potential destruction into a moment of profound self-awareness and potential healing. You have turned the poison of conflict into the medicine of consciousness. This is the culmination of our journey. This is what true power looks like in the real world. It is not about living a perfect, problem-free life. It is about developing the inner capacity to meet any and every circumstance with presence, wisdom, and an open heart. It is the understanding that you are not the victim of your life, but the alchemist of it. You have the power to transform any experience, no matter how leaden and heavy it may seem, into the gold of your own awakening. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. This moment, right now, is it. This breath, this sensation, this sound. This is the only place where life is happening. The spiritual journey does not end with finding a quiet place within yourself. It ends when you can bring that quiet place with you into the noise of the world and realize that the sacred silence was never separate from it. To be truly powerful is to be radically, unapologetically, and lovingly here in the messy, beautiful, and divine alchemy of your own everyday life. Subscribe now to continue receiving wisdom that bridges the gap between ancient secrets and modern life, helping you to embody your true power in every moment. The journey never ends, it only deepens.